Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the European Challengers Series Spring Split Week 3. I'm Richard Polscam, and manning the cast at desk with me is James Stress O'Leary.
Yes, indeed, and before we kick things off here today, let's take a look at yesterday's results. I think you just got a sneak peek at them, but we'll actually take a full look now at what happened yesterday. Tuesday's games aren't broadcast, but we're going to tell you exactly what happened. That is that Origin in the first game of the day beat Team Dignitas EU. Second game that happened yesterday was Reason Gaming beating Gamers 2, and Lowland Lions finally took down Mouse in the last game yesterday.
Yeah, and with 5 of 10 games down, we are now halfway through the spring split. So let's see where the teams stand. It's Origin at the top, 5-0. Haven't dropped a single game yet, Stress. But then there's ties for 2nd and 4th spots, with the teams being 3-2 and then 2-3 respectively. And that means Mouse Esports at the bottom, 0-5. Not even a single win.
Yeah, they're going to be desperate for that first point in the win column there. As we're, as you said, halfway through the round robin already. No wins at all.
Yeah, it's a desperate state indeed. But with that in mind, here's what we have in store for you on today's show. Origin open up versus Team Dignitas for our first game of the day.
Yeah, indeed. And then the second game of the day is going to be Gamers 2 going up against Reason Gaming. And finally, Mouse will take on Lowland Lions to end the day.
But before we get into our first match of Week 3, our video team checked in with our league leaders Origin in a gaming house situated in the beautiful backdrop of Tenerife.
My name is Enrique, my nickname is Expeke. I play for Team Origin as a mid laner. I think I have been 3 or 4 years saying Fnatic pretty much, and now saying I play for Origin feels really weird. Feels like I'm not even playing the same game. From the beginning, at first, it was really hard to choose a name. Origin means beginning in Spanish. So this idea of making my own team is an idea I have had for a long time. Probably two years ago, maybe 3. This last year, after the season ended and I saw the team was not gonna stay the same because Sinai wanted to retire. Reckless was not sure if he would leave the team or go to Alliance. He was not sure. I decided that it was the perfect time for me to go on this new journey of making the team from zero. Obviously, when I reached Mithi, I knew that he had a past, that he was actually banned at that time for a year.
I have a shady past, one could say, and I felt that the best way for me to start from scratch with on a team with respected players and show that I am like anyone can change and I'm different to what people think of me.
I knew from experience and from listening to his previous teams that he was never like he is in solo queue.
Also, I was an ass in solo queue and so on, but in terms of team environment, I was never someone that was very hard to work with.
And he has never been disrespectful to any of the players. It's the other way around. I think he's the most respectful one of everyone. Like, he always tried to take everything calm. He take criticism the best, because if you tell him he did something bad, he's the only player that won't come back to you and tell you, no, I didn't do it bad. He will actually be like, yeah, he actually did that bad.
Once my ban was lifted, I felt I had chances to prove I was LCS level, or at least good enough.
But for the top laner, he was still in Fnatic at that time. And he was unsure if he was staying, and even when I asked them, the organization, he was not sure himself what he was going to do or what he wanted to do.
It was a good opportunity to prove myself again and to prove to people that we can qualify to LCS and still play good, even though we are like the old guys from League of Legends.
Even if they would be past their prime, they would still be better than 75% of players in the LCS.
I asked other AD carries, I asked Mithi especially for opinions.
I just wanted to have someone next to me that motivates me even to play and perform.
And I even asked Reckless, I remember. So I asked him, which AD would you think would be the best? And he told me, if you go with this guy Niels, I'm pretty sure you guys will qualify, because from what I see him playing in solo queue, I think he's completely one of the best ADs, and all he needs is to improve in a team environment. And I think he will be one of the best.
I thought about like everything, I had other offers too, from LCS teams or challenge teams too, and I thought that this was maybe the best idea for me. Maybe not the best offer, because all teams were LCS already. This offer was maybe like risky to go here, but I thought overall that this was my chance to do something and be on a good team with good players and good personalities. So I thought this was the best for me.
That's something I like from Niels. He feels like we have been playing together forever, pretty much. It's kind of weird. It's really good. He's not afraid to say when something's wrong or to point out when he did bad or when someone did bad. So it's good.
The same thing that happened with everyone happened with Amazing. We looked for advice from other players. I talked to Björksen. He asked him for a recommendation, what he thought of him, what the good things, the bad things, and yeah, eventually we decided we wanted to take him in.
The prospect of playing with him is just crazy because this guy has immense amount of talent, and I feel like right now I'm like trading up from mid laners to mid laners. Like first off, I started with Kautat, who had he was not really famous. Then I switched to Björksen, who has like 400k followers on Twitter, and then I go to FLICKR. I'm like, okay, that guy's even bigger.
Well, the good thing of forming the team from zero in Challenger is that you can grow slowly. Everything goes so slow and so smooth that we have time to adapt for everything. And at the same time, we don't have the pressure that we could have on LCS. And when we encounter problems, no one really cares because that's what we are here for. We are here to improve for the future. Getting to LCS is the #1 priority, and for me, it's actually the only priority. I don't look more than that at the moment. Like people think, when people say, oh, they're gonna be a top team or they are not gonna be a top team and they go into ARCs, I honestly don't even think about it. It's not that I don't care, I just don't think about it. So I'm really looking forward to it because it's gonna be going back to LCS with a different team. I really want to see how we do there because I think we could do really good. I think playing Fnatic back in LCS is gonna be weird because it's gonna be a high-thought match because people is gonna look into the not the whole team but also the mid lane matchup, and it's gonna be really scary for me. I think I'm gonna be nervous on that game. I think it's gonna be exactly the same to them. They are not gonna want to lose to the whole team because they know the fans are gonna eat them if they lose. In the end, the name, what's gonna make the name is gonna be the brand, the players, how everything goes, and Origin is a cool name to start with. It's a new beginning, it's starting from zero. So I think that was the perfect fit, and it didn't matter what. Eventually, if we did good, the name itself will become a brand.
4 of us have been to Worlds, so like that's obviously the highest goal and only to be achieved by going to LCS and qualifying from there.
I think it's a new start, new team, new start, new organization, your own thing, then you're more motivated to play.
I'm really trying hard to keep competing, to be the best at my position, to show everyone that I'm still good at the game.
I'm just trying to learn from everyone and just trying to be the best I can be.
There's this German word, Sehnsucht, which basically describes it. I want to be there. When I see it, I just want to be playing, I want to be competing. I think we can be one of the, or even the best team in Europe.
I don't know, it's quite exciting that it's like a new adventure because I'm not sure how it's gonna end or where is it gonna go exactly.
That was a great little video there about Origin and the beginnings of their team and how they are over in Tenerife. And I have to say, damn, that's a nice sweater, Soaz. But it's about time for our first game of the day.
Yes, it is, Stress. And for our first match of today, it's Origin versus Team Dignitas EU. A new challenger approaches to attempt to dethrone Origin. But after watching them make short work of Games 2 and Reason Gaming, Team Dignitas have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, that's fair to say the least. If they want to cut through this work, they are going to need a plasma cutter because OG right now are 5-0 at the top of the standings and look completely unstoppable. Whereas Team Dignitas, in the first week, they were really lackluster and only really fired the engines up on week 2. So they're going to need some rocket boosters if they want to get a win here.
They do indeed. So let's take a look at the two teams and their rosters. On the blue side, it is Origin. Soaz, Amazing, Xpeke, Niels, and Miffy.
And over on the red side, it is 3 of the 5 usual crew for Team Dignitas Europe, but they made a roster swap this week. So, as normal, Wonderware in the top lane, Broken Shard in the jungle, Senkux in the mid lane. Stepping in for AD carry is Cobby as challenger AD carry, and Voidal, who you'll remember from the LCS, played on Gambit as support. So Cobby and Voidal were playing on, I believe it was Millennium for a little while, the last couple of weeks. They've looked decent as a bot lane, and we'll see whether they can, in fact, give Team Dignitas that boost that they need to get a win here.
Right, so they are known players players, and you know, a bunch of people will know them around the challenger scene. But these two teams met yesterday, so we'll see how that one went down.
Yeah, they did indeed meet yesterday, and it was Origin that were meeting first in the mid lane. However, Team Dignitas would get a better start to this game as they would turn around this gank and end up picking themselves up a 2-for-1 out of this situation. So it was looking good already.
Yeah, it looked like a great start for Team Dignitas EU, but Origin returned fire, and they went one better. They picked up a kill onto Wonderware 2 versus 2 here with Neil and Miffy. Just perfect mechanics coming in here, and it didn't stop there. Amazing came in to make it 2-0.
He did. It took him a little while longer, but you can see Miffy just hanging on there. Low health, no mana either, but Amazing is around to just give over that first kill of the game. Wasn't a quick one, but he got it in the end. Down in the bottom lane, it was Niels continuing to get more kills as he takes out Cobby, and from this play, Team Dignitas get 2 turrets in the bottom.
Yeah, and following that, 18 minutes into this one, Broken Shard overextended right into Miffy. And what did he do? Well, he just dropped a bear right on his head, and that, of course, meant that he died.
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward overextend there in that middle lane, and another overextend. Senkux into a warded area, gets caught out, blown up. And nearly a repeat of yesterday's, last week's Ezreal play, end up 4-0-3.
Yeah, and Origin with their freshly harvested Baron buff sieged the middle inhibitor of Team Dignitas, and in a desperate attempt to claw back into the game, Broken Shard engages. But at this point, Origin are just way too far ahead, and they crush Team Dignitas before they can even raid the drawbridge.
Yeah, no chance of holding up in the castle at that point for Team Dignitas Europe. No Bastion will hold them, as Origin will crash through. But Origin looked pretty good overall, to say the least, in yesterday's games. It was a very one-sided game, and you can tell that if you just look at the carries, because we've highlighted here Xpeke and Niels, who neither one has died here in this week's game so far.
Yeah, well, it doesn't get much better than that. But then you take a look at the opposing side. Jungle, it is, of course, Broken Shard coming in here, 1-5-5. You can even see in his gold, he was just unbelievably far behind his opponents.
Yeah, really struggled to get any kind of control. To be fair to him, when you're behind after that level 1 play in the gank top lane, it is difficult to get yourself around objectives, but nevertheless, we have to see what they can do today.
Yeah. Of course, the counterpoint is he's always very aggressive in the early game, and that seems to happen every game, but yeah, I agree with you. But while the team's set up for Champion Select, we want to focus our vision on the middle lane, because Senkux has been putting up consistently strong performances from week to week to week, and there's a very real possibility that he could maybe even topple the back-on-form Xpeke. However, Xpeke has also put up those strong performances every week, but for him, the team doesn't rely on him for their victories. In contrast, Team Dignitas puts a lot of weight on the Danish mid laner.
Yeah, you can see that Xpeke, 9 average KDA over the last 4 games. He's just been doing insanely well. Has been involved with a fair majority of the kills for Origin. Then you look at Senkux, who, as a mid laner, likes to play very aggressive. He's got half the KDA as Xpeke, and has been involved in more kills. And now this is one thing that one thing leads to another, and it shows you just how more reliant Team Dignitas is on Senkux than Origin is on Peke, because Origin, you've got Niels, who's putting up amazing stat lines. Amazing is doing well as well, and so is in the top lane. There's so many other options for Origin that Dig need to find something so they don't struggle. Yeah,
there's always someone to pick up the slack, and that just, absolutely. You just have those multiple threats that just makes it very difficult to play against. But before we get into the Champion Select, Origin did lose one of their bans because they arrived late. So just watch out for that one. It's not that they just forgot to ban something.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for telling me, because that would have probably shocked me a little bit when they're not banning anything. But let's head on and see. So this first ban should time out.
Yes.
Is what should happen here.
Correct.
So to give maybe a little context onto why, they are actually at a LAN event today, Origin, and Gamers 2 are. So they're over in Spain competing. But you know, this is the most important. I'm just going to say it like it is, because this wins here get Origin closer to LCS, wins here get Dignitas back on track to getting towards LCS as well. So what did we see from the picks and bans yesterday? That is my biggest question, and honestly the answer to that is a lot of mid lane focus.
Yeah, a lot of mid lane focus. We were talking about those mid laners as well, and we were wondering are they going to put those bans towards those mid laners? I need to see if it's reciprocated as well,
Yeah.
because like maybe one team will and the other team won't. You talk about that tournament, I believe Origin won. So they're coming into this match with a big morale boost, if they even needed it.
Yeah, if they needed it. And taking a look at the picks and all the bans so far, we've seen Nidalee jungle, I believe, that was banned out yesterday as well. A lot of junglers feel it's very strong right now. Cassiopeia Zed aimed towards that mid laner of Senkux. He's, been great on both of those champions, so we've seen a lot of priority towards that mid lane.
Yeah, that's a very interesting, because we literally just mentioned that, and they put all their remaining bans against Senkux, whereas on the other side, maybe only one of them, which is again a flex pick, was aimed at XPeke. So it's almost like Team Dignitas EU here are more confident than Origin. But even so, they have the top lane. The top lane of Soaz did pick up Rek'Sai, which is for the jungle.
Yes, Rek'Sai going into that jungle, and a very fast lock in here of the Corki and the Annie. Now, we saw Corki Annie yesterday out of the Team Dignitas lineup, and you saw the roam very early, helped them get the lead as they left Corki over in the bottom lane on his own. So maybe we'll see some success from that. We do, however, know that Niels and Mithy have been pretty much unstoppable in this bottom lane. Niels, he is yet to die on broadcast. He died in the Tuesday game of, I believe it was week 1, maybe, and he died like once. But on our broadcast, he is yet to die.
Yeah, that's funny, because typically you'd think like if you're on broadcast, you panic more because there's lots of people watching you, but apparently it's the reverse for Niels, so we'll see how that one works out for today's stress. But yeah, Origin are still remaining. Still have time remaining before they lock in some champions.
They've still got some time. Interesting you'd say about being live, actually. Amazing tweeted out yesterday that maybe we just don't play so well when we don't have a live viewership.
Yeah.
No crowd, no stream on. Yeah. He actually tweeted that yesterday. Interesting to see that maybe Origin play better under the spotlight.
That's very cool. And it will help them as well if they even get to the finals, which they will have an audience in front of them. But the Origin do lock in that Leona for the bot lane and the LeBlanc for the mid lane. So they ban out Cassiopeia and Zed, and then they go for the LeBlanc.
So Leona has been a very common pick into the Annie picks. Essentially, as soon as the Annie composition is, and we will get it back up on your screen in just a sec, as soon as the Annie is removed from the composition, a lot of the engage potential typically has been removed. So if you can pick a champion like Leona, who, as long as you survive through the laning phase, you can put a lot of pressure onto the Annie lane because you're no sustain. You typically have more consistent engage. Then you just blow Annie up with a solar flare as the game kind of expands across the map. You remove that engage tool completely.
Yeah, it's like super helpful. But yeah, like the other thing is, I'm wondering if they'll continue to start picking engage on that team, because if the Annie dies, then if you're still looking for engage, you're looking for that mid game pressure. Obviously, they have the Corki locked in. So if they lock in maybe a Jarvan for jungle, this is now 5.4.
Yes.
So that means like we do have the Jarvan changes coming in. Means he has the armor removed from his flag, but added to his base armor. So it's less. So it means he has a weaker clear, but he's not like completely out of it. We just know that he's dropped down the tier list of junglers.
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion on that. And honestly, I'm waiting to see more games on 5.4 before teams kind of realize exactly where he fits. Everybody knows he's dropped. It just is how far is the question. And that is something that we're going to have to answer as when we do get back into picks and bans as we're going to go along. Because that Rek'Sai is almost certainly the top tier of junglers. And Nidalee is up there as well. Everybody thought perhaps after the fixes that went through in 5.3 that Nidalee had fallen off. Still is able to skirmish very well against champions like Rek'Sai, who have a lot of early game damage. We've seen Nidalee banned away. What are they going to pick instead? Yeah,
well, we are going to be jumping back into Champions next here, but we are now 9 picks in, so we're going to have to catch up a little. But we do have the response of Irelia and Twajani coming in from Team Dignitas EU, and then Miffy comes in and responds with Malphite for the top lane.
There is so much that has gone on.
Let's take it piece by piece, Stress.
Let's take it piece by piece. So we saw the LeBlanc. So on the other side, Irelia and Sejuani have been locked in. Irelia is going to be very strong up in that top lane role. This was a blind top lane pick here, so they're very confident in Wondware's Irelia in this situation. So that we'll have to see as we get further into the game. The Sejuani is something I want to pick up on, and it's something that I know LCS teams have discussed as well. Gambit have played Sejuani. You can play Sejuani into Rek'Sai. Sejuani is not very good in the beginning of the game, so if Broken Shard can avoid Amazing for a long period of time, he'll be fine. However, when you get to team fight, Sejuani obviously has her benefits. Graves Malphite. Graves, we're seeing a whole bunch. Leona, it's a lot of burst. Malphite, on the other hand, against Irelia is fine. It's a farm lane. You also have a lot of engage.
Yeah, Containment, I think, is the name of the game coming into that top lane. And then the very last pick was Team Dignitas EU picking up their Ahri. So they eventually do lock that in, and they put the Ahri into the LeBlanc matchup up against Xpeke.
Yeah, but you know what both of these comps scream? Aggression and engage. All of these champions nearly have ways of engaging or following up from an engage. You look at a Malphite ultimate, a Rek'Sai, which is kind of like, I guess that's kind of like a poorer version of a Malphite ultimate. You have to tunnel in, but that's a lot of knockups here that are coming out from the Origin lineup. They got Leona engage. Both teams want to fight. It's going to rely heavily on who can come out of the laning phase ahead here.
Yeah, and in the game that we saw on Tuesday, we saw Team Dignitas fall massively behind early, and Origin just literally rolling over them from minute one. So now that both of the teams kind of like have their arsenal ready to try and go head-to-head, it'll be interesting how this one works out, Stress. But as we make our way into game, Spirit Rush over to Twitter and use the hashtag OGWin or DEUWin to file your vote for who you think will take home the victory. And we'll be checking in on your results during the game.
Regardless of who anybody thinks is going to win this, I know that this is going to be a pretty explosive game once it opens up. With champions
it's
like
physically possible not for it to be.
If this turns into a 50-minute game with champions like that, I'm going to be incredibly surprised. However, we are on to the Rift here.
Yeah, all the champions coming down onto the spawn pad. I assume they fly it down onto it because they kind of just come
I
from the
figured
sky.
it was like Power Rangers, where, you know, they've got like a thing and they all have a color that drops them down. When, you know, when they teleport.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm just showing my 90s, 90s pop culture.
We'll see if Origin can take that power to Team Dignitas once again, maybe picking up their second win against them. That would put them 6-0, which would be pretty good. I don't think it would even be possible for them not to make the playoffs after that result.
I think you might be right. We'll have to double check that one. But that
remember,
may
don't do maths on the European Challenger Series.
I'm going to go with I think so. And that tends to do me well a lot of the times. However, there was a lot that happened. And yeah, a dance-off is happening. But a lot happened here in Picks and Bans that I still think we've got a couple of seconds to catch up on. So the Ahri LeBlanc matchup, we saw Ahri picked into that as the last pick here for Team Dignitas. And again, it suits both of these mid laners right down to a T. They both like to play aggressive. Senkux, I would say, probably likes to play a little bit more aggressive than Peke. Peke does control himself for when he finds the right engage. Senkux kind of sometimes blindly goes in a little bit. So that is going to be where a lot of this early game focus is going to be in this game, because top lane, as you already said, is going to be containment.
Yeah, and in the bot lane, Voil getting the sick value, putting down the auto attacks, got 5 gold. Miffy.
Yep, gets it.
Yeah, with the attack, Shield of Daybreak attack. It's not an auto attack reset, but it's like Tiamat. Just goes in between the autos.
That is the most infuriating thing when you're playing against a Leona. Is like, I really hope she's not in this bush and ready to get this ward, because that, man.
It's got to be as soon as the ward is placed down, you have to go for the initial auto attack, and yeah, sad times. It's not a good start.
I'm interested to see where the jungle pathing is going to be, especially for this Sejuani. Sejuani is not a champion we see too much. Speaking of bottom lane stuns, there's one onto Annie. But Sejuani's not a champion we see all that much. Gambit Gaming have been playing Sejuani. They did so at IEM Cologne and have brought it to the LCS as well. But she's not a champion that we really see a lot. And, you know, I was talking about it a little bit in the pre-game that Amazing, if he can find Broken Shard, is going to be able to put down a lot of damage onto this Sejuani in the jungle.
And that's with the recent jungle changes as well. So obviously all the tier lists have kind of shifted a bit, and we'll see if Sejuani really has kind of gone up the rankings and whether Broken Shard can make that happen. He did again go aggressive in the early game we saw before, so we'll see if he keeps up the aggression or he just plays a more controlled style.
Oh, bottom lane, there is another little bit of a trade here. This time, Team Dignitas are the ones that have reached level 2 first, so Niels and Mithy have to respect this big spike in damage that level 2 has brought the Team Dignitas lineup. But something I want to, focus on is the fact that Sejuani has no real sustain out of the jungle and has already used all of her pots. Rek'Sai has as well, but remember, once you burrow, you'll get health back from her passive. So Amazing is going to be able to sustain through the jungle a lot better than Broken Shard, and Amazing might even be able to gank bottom lane here. There is a ward look down in the bottom, so they will know, but here's the engage.
Yeah, Miffy's already engaged on top of Voidal, and they may not even need him. Last auto attack comes through for the 2v2 first blood, and Amazing just walks into lane, looks scary, and Corki just Valkyries out of the way.
For as much as you have to respect the first level 2 in lane, you have to respect a Leona running Ignite that can engage on you just like that. And you can see Peke is going to engage himself.
Yeah, he gets the Ethereal Chains down onto Sandcooks and will land a couple more autos. A nice Orb of Deception in response will get him some HP back. There's a Xenoblade connecting onto Kirby, and Niels will follow with the damage as well. How much does he have? Forces another Valkyrie out of him. Luckily, he doesn't burn either of his summoners, that being from Corki, so that just means he has to take a trip back to town.
Yeah, it makes it very difficult as he heads back to base now, because especially in this Graves-Corki matchup, Corki should become more prominent in the match earlier on. Trinity Force is your big power spike, as opposed to Graves' 2-item spike. In this situation, Graves should be far enough ahead now to pick up maybe a pickaxe in this situation. Yes, he should, plus pots. Mid lane, there's another amount of damage here onto Peke.
Yeah, lots of trading between these two mid laners, and I would typically say this is like the focal point of the match, but then we also spoke about Origin, like even if Peke fails in the mid lane, you've got Saz, you've got Amazing, you've got Niels, you've got the bot lane with Miffy, like it's just one contingency plan that they have. I'm also looking at the items here, and Amazing has picked up the skirmishes, which we actually have been seeing in recent days as well, Stress.
Yeah, we have. Typically, when you go with these jungle changes that happened in 5.4, remember now to exchange an item, it now costs extra gold, so you want to pick an item and stick on it. And this tells me that Amazing wants to get aggressive into the enemy jungle, find Broken Shard, and trade against him really heavily. And you know, I think we're going to see that as this game goes on. Amazing already showing us him invading.
Yeah, I call it the Liam Neeson. He just wants to find him and kill him. But in the mid lane, Xpeke is still trying to kill Sandcooks, not to too much avail. Miffy in the bot lane, again clearing out those wards. Voidal is not having a good time in the ward war so far. And that also means Amazing has found himself down there in the bush, and that Tremor Sense you can see pinging off. He's looking for his prey. And they are now moving forwards onto Kirby. Amazing already did burrow into Voidal, so that'll be enough to push him back for now. And Kirby moves right back to where he was, and Amazing's going to stick around. Yeah,
Broken Shard, however, does have a level advantage and was looking to gank mid lane. This time he'll just take the ward away. So if Broken Shard can get himself to level 6 faster than Amazing can, he can make his impact felt pretty early on. With the ultimate that's going to come from Sejuani, it's going to be a very important tool for this Team Dignitas lineup as they go throughout this game. It'll allow them to set up picks and allow them to get Irelia perhaps into the backlines.
So Broken Shard was sitting there, and it looked like he was waiting for the level 6 from Sandcooks, because he was literally a couple minions away, but then the wave pushed, and it was just kind of mistimed. So it was a nice force in theory, but didn't quite pan out. Miffy with the Xenoblade. He'll just flash onto Voidal, though, with his with Shield of Daybreak, right with the Amazing knockup. He just goes down. Kirby was trying all that he could do to put down the damage onto Niels, but it's not even close to being enough. 2 and 0, both of those kills right onto Voidal.
Great start out from Origin, very similar to yesterday. Again, they just catch out Voidal, who's just over-aggressive in this situation. And Team Dignitas have already given a kill and assist over to Niels. We've spoken about how influential he can be. He's 47 CS to 29 up already in this Graves-Corki matchup, and this is looking good. They go again.
Miffy underneath the turret is going deep, and it also forces the flash from Kirby. He didn't even want to try and sit under the turret and see if he could trade it out. That is one aggressive lane, and is it working out?
That is the question, and it doesn't really seem to be working out for Team Dignitas, however you look at it up in that top lane. Over on the bottom lane, I was going to say over in the top lane, we haven't really seen anything out of these top laners because this is a farm matchup, and it is going to stay this way for another couple of minutes. Now that Soaz is level 6, though, with that teleport and unstoppable force, he can get himself in, but Voidal, oh my goodness, he's caught out again.
Hashtag that, because Xpeke comes in, sweeps him. Oh, Broken Shard also happens to be in the area. Oh, there is a dent with bristles facing it in that wall.
Oh dear, that's painful for to happen. I mean, he wasn't quite level 6 yet either, and he just gets caught out. I believe he's actually... Ooh. Oh no, Peke gets it. Broken Shard was actually about 2 minions away from level 6, which meant he would have been able to get a quicker flash over because you just ult them right next to you and walk out. But Amazing is having a much better time in the jungle. He will now start the dragon off, and we already know Rek'Sai is pretty good at doing dragons, so with just a little bit of help here from Miffy, this one is very easily going to go down. in favor of Origin.
Yeah, that is going down real fast. Miffy just supplying the sunlight buff as well, get the extra damage down. And the first dragon going over to Origin in this game, 4-0. Feels like I've seen this one before, and I would be right because I saw it yesterday.
Wow, that would some premonitions there. But this is game 2. Of course, game 1 was played yesterday off broadcast, but Broken Shard trying to get his first gank of the game down. Wasn't quite able to get into position. And you know what, this mid lane, even though it looks fairly even, that the CS is pretty standard between the two, LeBlanc has been able to get out there on the map. Peke has been able to be involved in half of the kills already in this game. And that's something that Senkux really has to try and deal with here. He's now not got his ultimate, so he needs to try and get into other lanes somehow.
And in the bot lane, now it's 2 versus 1 because Miffy's actually roaming towards the mid lane, trying to get something done on Senkux maybe if Fear Chains does not land. And here is that Miffy. He has Solar Flare. He does have the Ignite as well, but the flash is burnt from Senkux. That is amazing, ulting through. Where are you going?
Crosstown Express out of amazing here. Blue buff to blue buff. It's a pretty cheap fat for that one.
It is. Only the cost of an ultimate. And Broken Shard off to the upper left corner. Miffy is still around the jungle if he wants to engage on him. Still has the Solar Flare, remember. And they're now pushing the middle lane. A Prey Seeker just for some added poke. And it just feels like everyone's closing in around the mid lane. This is the only lane, the only bastion of hope that's kind of still holding strong. Say that, but I'm talking about top lane as well, where we haven't really paid much attention because it's a Irelia Malphite.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is a lane that we haven't seen for too long. It's been a couple of months since we've been having a lot of Irelia Malphite, but certainly it isn't exactly the most explosive of top lanes. A lot of the times you'll see Malphite just throw out his ultimate, just kind of for harass, and then Irelia will do the same, and it just bounces back and forth. But this is going to be a little bit more than harass.
Oh, Kobe. He gets hit up by the Solar Flare as well. All of that burst damage from Niels and Miffy. And he goes down again. 0-4 in the bottom lane alone. This is starting to collapse from the bottom up.
It really is. This is Broken Shard is making his way up to the top lane, but ultimate can be used as an escape tool as well. Soaz gets himself out. Broken Shard did hold on to his though.
Unstoppable peace out from Soaz in the top lane. And Broken Shard got what he wanted. Doesn't have his flash yet, but does have his ultimate still if he wants to make something happen, and burns another flash in the bottom lane, courtesy of Miffy, taking that away from Voidal. And yeah, he's just screaming for help from anyone at this point.
Yeah, indeed, he really is. And this bot lane is going to fall soon as well. Something I want to pick up on a little bit is, although Xpeke has been involved in a couple of kills, he hasn't really been out farming Senkux, just because Senkux has been able to just sit there and keep himself up in CS. He built Negatron Cloak first as well, and great warding out of the Team Dignitas lineup. But, you know, interestingly enough, Xpeke typically has been ahead in CS, about 5 to 6, about a wave full at 10 minutes on his lane opponents. This time he hasn't been able to force Senkux out, but what he has done is get himself involved in other little skirmishes around the enemy jungle. Could have been another skirmish here, but Broken Shard just charges himself out over the wall.
Arctic Assault away from the fight. And the first item has been picked up by Peke as well, and amazing just flashes over right here. Senkux comes in with the ultimate. There's the Arctic Assault followed by the ultimate as well, but he's got right into the middle of the fight. Voidal now was just trying to assist his jungler, but he may also be falling prey to Amazing with the Queen's Wrath and the follow with the Prey Seeker. Oh, and Xpeke over the wall flattens Annie, the Dark Child. 0-4 now. 7-0 total for Origin. They are so far ahead of Team Dignitas EU.
And Wonderware teleports into that fight and actually doesn't have an effect on it. He can't find the position. Yes, Soaz used his teleport as well, but the fight was pretty much over at that stage, so both top laners tried to get involved and then can't really do anything. So no teleport advantage for either team here, but Origin just continuing to get their own advantages in this game, fight after fight. Look at Voidal, an LCS player, former LCS, only a few weeks removed, 0-4 in a game here in the EUCS.
And we do have a 12-minute lane swap where Miffy is just roaming around the map doing whatever he wants to do. Wonderware, that was a little dangerous considering how strong he knows that bot lane is, and Miffy is trying to get this engage on. He has the Equilibrium strike down just to zone him away a little bit, but Wonderware, he cannot defend this turret.
Yeah, and this is just a power play out of Origin. They'd already sent Soaz bottom lane before that little fight to shove it out, make sure it was pushing in towards the turret. As soon as they see that Annie is out on the map and Corki is holding bot lane, they put their duo top lane. They know Wonderware cannot fight 2v1 against a Leona and a Graves. Easy tower for Origin.
Yeah, amazing here, just trying to establish those tunnels all over the opposing jungles, all around this dragon area as well, which is spawning in 1 minute. And they may be able to make that the second dragon of the game. You can see in the terms of items, they are so far ahead. They've already hit those item spikes. There's a Sunfire, there's an Infinity Edge, the Morellonomicon, and you compare that to the opposing team of Dignitas, who basically just have components of their items.
Yeah, not even the Abyssal Scepter finished yet, because Senkux hasn't found the time to go back and buy it. And you know what, we got the hashtag vote in earlier, see what the fans were saying, but Peke...
Oh, Senkux trying to delete him over here, but Niels comes in from the bot side. There's a Solar Flare again onto Voidal. He is extremely unlucky, just in the wrong place at the wrong time every single time. And Origin move around, so they do manage to save Private X Peke.
They do save him indeed. And you know what, that vote, I don't want to sound too... well, Mithy's caught out, so I'll save this.
Yeah, he just get hit by the Arctic Assault, and there's the ultimate from Broken Shard as well. In comes Wonderwear from the top lane. He came right through that middle lane. Amazing as well. Just get the knock-up with the Unburrow. I think that's the end of the chase for now. Tib has wanted some more, but the team doesn't want any of it.
So what I was gonna say was that Origin have been getting like 95% every time we do a Twitter vote. So I think a 74% split actually bodes quite well.
Whoa, Wonderwear as well. He just saw the opportunity and dove right on top of Leona. And that might be the reason why, Stress, that people have a little more faith in Team Dignitas, because those solo laners, we talked about the solo lane talent before, and they have been turning up. And this is a bold play from them, though. They get the pick and they go right onto Dragon. It's decisive, but Soaz does have his ultimate. Xpeke has his as well. They have a ton of burst to offer. Voidal, they will jump on him. He goes down. Broken Shard looks to be the next one. And Senkux and Wonderwear, what can they do in this fight? Xpeke will be dropping, so they get a 2-for-1. Wonderwear as well is now on the back foot as he jumps in, tries to get the last tick of damage. He comes in for the double kill, that being from Soaz. Double kill on the flip side from Senkux. Niels has arrived into the fight, and that signals the rest of Team Dignitas getting away from this fight. Niels will now follow up as well. Here comes the charm, drags him underneath that turret. There comes the collateral damage right to Senkux. And that will basically get the delayed ace. And in a 4 versus 5, Origin was still coming out ahead.
Yeah, and all the way back at the beginning, as Team Dignitas started the Dragon, they didn't commit to it fully. There was kind of this split decision-making of, do we want to fight? Do we want to take the Dragon? A couple of people were still dealing damage to the Dragon. Too high for Broken Shard to smite, but so low that it was still a tasty objective during that fight. And, you know, Amazing comes in, Soaz comes in. They both get the knockups here, and here we go. Let's draw it all the way back. You can see 1400 is still far too healthy for Broken Shard to do anything. Peke, followed up by his former Fnatic brother of Soaz, just completely shreds this team apart. And yes, Peke dies during this fight, but it's a small price to pay for what would eventually turn into be, you know, a couple more kills for Niels and a Dragon as well.
Yeah, and then once Niels arrived, it was just cleanup time. That was a fantastic collateral damage as well onto the back of Senkux as he was just trying to make his escape.
Yeah, Senkux should have known that the ult was coming a little bit there. Boom indeed.
No, Team Dignitas, we just see Senkux just the tail end of his ultimate there. He's trying to maybe get a pick onto Niels in the mid lane, but they are now trying to siege this up. 3 turrets to 0, those 2 dragons now over to Origin as well. There is what would usually be the farm alarm, but this is a power play indeed. He comes in from the side. Soaz is also teleported into this one. He's looking for the perfect ultimate to happen. Broken Shard, he's dead before they even need to do anything. Miffy drops low, but they haven't got the damage onto the necessary members. Soaz, Kobe not even able to land his ultimates onto anyone. Voidal again gets popped. He's now 0 and 6. A 2 and 0. Team Dignitas just caught off guard, blindsided by Origin.
And the way Origin played that, it looked like they were all there. Peke wasn't even there for the beginning of that fight. That was a 4 versus 5!
And there's the Soaz ultimate. Goes right underneath the turret. Wonderwear trying to do what he can. He will get the pick onto Soaz, but not before the collateral damage comes across from Niels. He'll sweep up a couple more members. And Kobe trying to get on to Amazing as he backs up, but he just doesn't have the damage. 16 to 5. This has been a bloodbath and not the right one for Team Dignitas EU.
Well, that unstoppable force caught me by surprise, and I had just thought, man, Soaz held on to it for the entire fight. So I don't know how that felt if you're on the Team Dignitas lineup as well, because Soaz showing great, you know, patience in that fight. There was a spot in the fight before that he could have ulted 3 people and actually chose not to. So this time holds it, gets it under the tower, dies for it, and they actually don't get the tower. So they get a few kills, and they push back Team Dignitas, but also they now have bought themselves a little bit of time to head back to the shop and buy, because I have a feeling they had a lot of gold stacked on each player.
Oh yeah, Cobby just picked up his Triforce as well, and we do need to wait for everyone to go back to base, but an easily dodge rod picked up by XPeke. There's so much damage now, and the top lane as well, so as he's just so tanky.
Yeah, he is, but this is one of the points that Team Dignitas have to fight at. They've reached a fair few item spikes here. You can see the Trinity Force on Irelia and on Corki. So in theory, coming into this game, this would be their time to fight. Abyssal Scepter with the level 2 boots as well onto Senkux should signal that this is their time. However, they are quite far behind right now. 8,000 gold nearly is the lead, and you can see XPeke, wow, just one little burst of damage onto Broken Shard, not even a full rotation, forces him back to base.
Yeah, he was around 60-70%, so it wasn't a huge amount of damage, but it's enough to deter who's supposed to be the tankiest member on the team. You can even see he went for Sightstone over more tanky items after the Juggernaut enchant, so he's going to be a little more squishy than he may have wanted, but he will of course still have that ultimate, the Glacial 2. I think that's wrong, but
Prison.
Glacial Prison. Yeah.
So close.
Yet so far.
It's the Freljord champions, man.
I know, dude. They're all very similar.
They just like to entrap people in ice. That's the problem. It's a little bit cold. But, you know, one thing that Team Dignitas have been doing very well in all... I say very well. Last couple of minutes has been going very well for them. Wonderware just got himself a tower down in the bottom lane. And that's one thing that they're going to have to utilize with this Irelia is they're going to have to buy Wonderware some time, to the point where nobody can fight Irelia in a solo lane. That really is what they have to do, and then they can use the rest of their comp to either engage in a favorable advantage or favorable trade, or back away. And Team Dignitas are going to have to try and get Wonderware rolling again and again.
Yeah, but the spanner in that plan, or should I say the rock in this case, is Malphite, because he's just so damn tanky. He's playing containment, and he's just ahead of the curve. So Wonderware can't really do too much against him. Senkux takes some more poke from XPeke, just dipping and diving, trying to get that damage down. Again, comes in with the Distort. No one was there this time around, but 1 minute until that Dragon, 1 minute 20. Origin take the initiative and push down the bottom lane.
Wonderware is able to clear this out, though, for now, but Team Dignitas, they don't have Senkux with them yet, so they can't afford to engage, and they don't have full vision, and ooh, Peke is just going to blow Voidal up. That really just completely reduces any chance that Dignitas have right now of sitting under this turret.
Yeah, and so as there's always the threat of his unstoppable force as well, but Broken Shot comes with the engage, he whiffs, it goes wide, he only gets the slow onto Miffy, then they re-engage as everyone's stacked up, a Solar Flare onto 4, there comes the collateral damage. If I've ever seen a one combo, that was definitely it, as Peke comes in, gets the final blow onto Voidal as well with his Ignite, the flash over the wall from Senkux, tries to pick up the kill onto Soaz, it will be Cobby chiming in for the kill there, and that ends up being a 2 for 2, or will it, because Cobby has been caught by XPeke with the Ethereal Chains, he'll be backing off into his base through that space gate, and that was still 2 for 2 overall, but Origin are in better shape to push this turret.
Oh, they are indeed, and they should get this as well. But all the way in the beginning of that fight, there's crazy Wonderware going into this fight. 1 versus 3.
Yeah, he goes on to Peke, but he's out of mana. Niels, though, he doesn't need mana. He's got the autos, and the team was just not there. Cobby was just waiting on the front line.
I mean, he's trying to buy time for Broken Shard, who has no ult here. Senkux, who had no ult, no flash, no way of catching up on that fight. A 1v3? I mean, sure, you were ahead. You had 3-2-2 on your scoreline at that point, but you're not that strong. Everybody on the other side, amazing, actually goes in again.
Yeah, he's taking a page out of Wonderware's buck, and I think he'll meet the same fate, but he's got so much shielding, and Peke was there from the side. Double Distort goes down, and Voidal also happens to be in the middle of the fight. He'll be disappearing from this lineup. Double kill for XPeke, make that 3 in total. Senkux gets nailed with the Solar Flare from Miffy. They'll just turn around, he has to. There's nowhere else he can run to, and Niels will pick up yet another kill.
And Wonderware just teleported to mid lane. I believe maybe even onto a minion, so he's not even going to get the reduced cooldown on that. He can't contest the dragon. The things that Team Dignitas Europe are doing right now screams of desperation in this game.
Yeah.
Broken Shard ults into a jungle that has no vision, misses the ult, only gets the slow on 1, then they engage into a choke against a Leona Rek'Sai Malphite. Like, that should have gone way worse for Team Dignitas. Then Wonderware tries to 1v3. We're going to get a replay, and we're going to see which one this is. This is amazing, getting a knock-up here. He gets a good knock-up onto 2. The rest of his team are around, but Amazing does drop very low from the beginning of this, and he knows how far ahead they are, that he can actually do this. And look at the damage that comes from XPeke. Not even a chance to finish the Valkyrie there. And Mythi actually picked up Broken Shard as well. Amazing got out of this fight. And watch the minimap soon if it does stay up for this teleport onto a minion. Senkux is already dead here. You have to just give this away. And then a teleport to the minion. Unless he wants that 1v3 and thinks round 2 is going to go any better than round 1. Not sure what the decision-making behind that was.
Yeah, that was just really impressive from Amazing. He just knew what his champion could do. Broken Shard comes to the engage. This time, that's the Glacial Tomb onto a couple of members, but it's not really what they need. Amazing will just pick up Broken Shard as he's just too squishy in that front line. And Mythi and Amazing, they're just walking around them. The Sharks are really just circling Dignitas at this point.
I've got a way of remembering which is Tomb and which is Prison.
Yeah.
So Lissandra we see with the Tomb because it puts people in the grave.
Okay.
This time, Broken Shard's Glacial Prison hasn't really done much.
Ah, smart. But Wonderwear is again jumping to minions and almost again just jumping onto the back line. It feels like Wonderwear just expects to be ahead, and he's just not. Voidor comes out with the Flash Tibbers, which immediately gets QSS'd, and there's the return fire from XPeke onto Senkux. He knows who he wants to be targeting in these fights.
So, in this game, we have, I think it's 6 former LCS players. And, I mean, this has been a very scrappy game. Origin have been ahead since the very minute 1. And they look to be picking up Voidal again.
Oh, it looks like curtains, and that makes him 1-9-4 in this game. Amazing comes in again for the 2-man knockup. We will be XPeke just putting in his clone to try and go for this last team fight, but Senkux comes in. He does not manage to assassinate anyone. He still has a couple Spirit Rush stacks, but I don't think he wants to go head first into them unless he can get a kill onto Niels. Wonderwear wants him, but he was able to quick draw away. And now they just swing mid lane and pick up all these inner objectives. 7-1 in objectives, 26-7. This really is the end of the line for Team Dignitas, and it's just how long is it going to take?
Yeah, a couple of minutes more. At this point, you have to look at what this game has meant and you know what this does to this Team Dignitas lineup. Yes, this is the toughest opposition that they're going to have here in EUCS with the league leaders. But this is a new lineup that I'm pretty sure that Team Dignitas would hope would be putting up a better fight than this. And honestly, as Amazing comes back into the jungle, I mean, Team Dignitas, they've only taken 2 turrets in this game. They haven't been able to get Wonderwear into the solo lane for the last 10 minutes, and honestly, that's what they need to do.
Well, you were right on Champions Select, Stress. It was an explosive game, but mainly from Origin, who just utilizing their composition and just doing what Team Dignitas EU do, but just better. And that has really just been the story of the game. They've just won the laning phases and just kind of did everything better than what they could possibly do, because they were going to the team fights and they were just stronger.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we said that in Champion Select.
Yeah.
Whoever gets ahead in the laning phase is going to take this game. Like, that is pretty much how it is going to be, just because of the way these two comps are. When one gets ahead, it is going to be exceptionally difficult for the other to get back into the game. And, you know, Irelia is one of those the champions in this game that will scale very well. Yes, the rest of the champions have their own scaling and you know, can be brought into the late game and do well themselves, but they need a lot more assistance that comes out of the laning phase rather than just time. However, down on the bottom side of the map, you can see that a big part of Cobby is down clearing out waves, so Team Dignitas wanted the engage.
It's Voidal getting caught again, and there's a good ultimate coming in from Broken Shard, lands onto 3, but is it going to be enough? And it looks like the answer so far is no, because there's just an unbelievable amount of damage coming out from Niels as he enters the fight. Senkux, there's collateral damage, everyone just jumping on top of him, and Wonderwear, yes, he's strong, but he's nowhere near strong enough, as Suaz is keeping up the chase. Cobby was even back to base, just getting all his health back. And yeah, this is not looking good.
Man, we said it last week, you can't Fnatic Bush X Fnatic. That is not something that they are going to fall prey to very often enough. And Origin, again, looking convincing in this win over Team Dignitas.
And that was a fast one. 27 minutes on the clock before they managed to finish off this game up against Team Dignitas EU. That makes them 2-0 in this week and 6-0 overall.
I don't really think there are many words that can kind of describe just how strong Origin are looking right now. And I guess it kind of may feel like a broken record, but when there is just such a big difference, it's very difficult perhaps to articulate that what exactly Team Dignitas need to do. Because when we saw Team Dignitas against their opponents last week, they actually looked fairly strong. They look pretty sharp. There were decent stat lines on everybody, but you know, this week it just hasn't looked like they were there. And yes, they're a new roster. We need to give them some time. Yeah. That is one thing to get that AD carry and support gelling with the rest of the lineup, but they don't have the time to gel. They've got 2 more game weeks left.
Yeah, I think if anything emphasizes that point more, it's coming into this week with the roster swap up against your strongest competition, and that you don't have the practice with because you've only just done the roster swap. It was, yeah, the timing was a little off, and it showed in that game, really, honestly. But we need to head to a quick break, and we need to head back to base because we accidentally purchased Poacher's Knife. But when we return to lane, Gamers 2 and Reason Gaming square off. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the European Challenger Series. Gamers 2 and Reason Gaming are busy sharpening their swords before they take to the arena for our second game of today. We also want to remind you that when you spot a play that catches your eye, tweet at LOL Esports using the hashtag ChallengerBigPlays, and you might find your response next week on the show. But from last week, our Challenger Big Play comes from Tommy D31. That Ezreal snipe. Let's take a look.
With regards to the items.
Oh, Zaitan again gets hit by the dog binding. He flashes aggressively onto Cedric, and those crazy caps can offer the damage that BF sword advantage.
Here we go.
Will it hit? It goes all the way into the bot lane, and
he
snipes
gets him
as well. Yeah, I got very northern.
Wow. Well, I mean, to be honest, apart from whoa, what can you say about that play?
Yeah.
Because the tweet says it all. That Ezreal snipe.
It does indeed, and we'll be keeping our eyes open for more Challenger big players as we head into our second game of the day between Gamers2 and Reason Gaming. And both teams were in very similar situations here, Stress. Both have suffered losses against Origin, but both have really performed against the other teams in the league. So for me, this is the closest matchup between two of the strongest teams underneath that top team of Origin.
Yeah, I think that's very fair to say. And you know what? These two realistically, in the current standings, could be, this could be the fight for second place. And second place in the round robin is an important spot because you get better seeding into the playoff bracket. Better seeding into the playoff bracket gets you a greater chance at getting to that finals for that automatic promotion spot into the LCS. So a win here for either team would really put them on the track to that automatic promotion spot.
Well, let's take a look at those two teams here, Stress. So on Gamers2, they'll be on the blue side. It's Smitty J, Gilius, Iker, Jeebus, and Heaver. And last week, Gamers2 faced down Lowland Lions White. The first game was extremely close until a decisive teamfight late game, but by Wednesday, Gamers2 just had the Lions figured out and crushed them in 25 minutes.
Yeah, they did. Pretty much, that's about all you can say about that one. But good job to see Gamers2 actually starting to show up. We were a little bit worried after that first week's performance against Origin, but last week against Lowland Lions, Gilius, I believe he was 9-2 and 17, as we saw there on the screen. You know, finally Gamers2 starting to show their presence.
Yeah, it was a good performance for sure. But on Reason, their opponents, it's Kubon, Zayu, Take Fun, Saliva, and the bot lane support of Libic. And I really just feel that Reason are a more consistently strong lineup than Gamers2, so I think this matchup's going to be even closer because of that.
Yeah, I think this is very weird situation that we've got here is that, Reason Gaming, them at a more consistent level. Gamers2 have their peaks and troughs, but I think the Gamers2 peaks may be slightly higher than where Reason Gaming kind of plateau overall. But, Saliva has been doing very well. We talk about this week on week, how quietly Saliva is just kind of sneaking his way into good stat lines. You saw that 23, 8, and 18 in their last 4 games is doing pretty good. But, you have to give Reason a little bit of credit here. They're going back-to-back on the toughest opponents. Origin last week, followed by this week. Now they have Gamers2. If they can pull out another win here after a win yesterday, it'll put them in really good stead.
Well, that was the story up until yesterday, so let's see how yesterday went down. So the game started off with Take Fun and Zayu executing a perfect gank onto Iker in the middle lane, and that got them first blood.
Yeah, they baited out the ult from Iker. They had to burn a flash, but it was all worth it in the end for Take Fun getting that. But another kill in this game. Kubon had already got an assist from an earlier kill onto Smitty J with help from the jungler. This time just kills him one-on-one 13 minutes in lane.
And you know what? Not a minute later, Smitty J gets caught again, just after returning to lane and actually on a ward outing to open the game 0-3.
Yeah, and Take Fun, he wasn't done there after that roam. Catches Iker again. And at this point, Take Fun are just so far ahead on their solo laners.
Yeah, call them Olimar, dude, because they're picking men left and right. But as we came into this one, Gamers2 began the Dragon, and Reason Gaming come in to punish. They ended the fight 4-2 in favor of Reason, plus the Dragon. And this is really where Reason began to take a hold of the game.
Yeah, take a hold they did, and it, as you said, all began with this triple kill for Saliva. Flashes to get the last one, gets it anyway. Doesn't even need that flash later because 12 minutes of dominance, 2 inhibitors go down, and Gilius gets himself baited towards the Baron pit. Saliva's taking a little too much damage off the spikes at the back of Baron and does end up falling, but ultimately it doesn't end up mattering because Reason solo laners again so far ahead.
Yeah, and that put them 17,000 gold ahead of their opponents, 28 kills to 8. It was an absolute bloodbath, and Reason Gaming took the game incredibly decisively.
Yeah, we were expecting it to be a little bit closer in this matchup, and you know what? One player that we felt really shined in that game, Kubon, going along with a binary scoreline. All the ones here at 11-1 and 11, looking really good.
Yeah, and his opponent, Smitty J, looking less good. 1-8-5. His CS difference only 10, but then you look at the gold and he was 5,000 gold behind.
Yeah, he was camped pretty hard at the beginning of the game. Yeah. That's fair to say. And, you know, from that, again, we've put him on here again. Saliva, another great performance. 4-1 and 11. Sure, he wasn't outwardly carrying the team on his own, but if you can continue to put up stat lines like that, that's what you want from an AD carry.
Yeah. If it was fantasy, he'd be the sleeper pick because every week he just puts in those super good score lines. So yeah, not more to say on Celebes. Just see if he does that again both today and as we progress through the weeks.
Yeah, that's a player that we will be watching, as always, with the Reason lineup. But you know, Reason are a team that have been as this lineup for quite a while now. Zayu was the last edition, and we're talking like 6 to 9 months ago. So as a team, it's good to see them back on an upswing against Gamers 2, who they're a lot younger a team when it comes to their lineup. Obviously, only joining Gamers 2 after the qualifications here for EUCS, so they're a lot younger, but I wonder whether that youth is a little bit more hungry than the consistent lineup.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like, obviously, Reason did so well yesterday, so that was, of course, like, the experience coming into effect. And also, the whole lineup is Polish. Even the manager, Hidden GFX, Simon, he's also Polish. So it's just like everyone just seems so much, like, on the same page, reading from the same hymn sheet. Whereas you look at Gamers 2, the team, we were like, maybe they do have those higher peaks. In this game, definitely was not a peak. It was definitely a low.
One thing, a little bit of a low from yesterday, as we mentioned in the first game, Origin and Gamers 2 are currently at a LAN event. In yesterday's games, G2 didn't actually have any bans because they were unable to be in the lobby for the game on time. So now that they have bans, how will that affect their strategy?
Yeah, we'll find out because we are now heading into Champion Select, and we'll see what they do with those bans. So funny. So we're going to see. It will be the Irelia coming in as the ban for their first ban, and then it will be the shots returned in the form of Cassiopeia from Reason Gaming.
I still need a minute after that. I wasn't expecting it. But yeah, so yesterday's bans I did have here somewhere, which we will look at in a second. Because this we've already had 4 come out. So some mid, some top lane bans already.
Indeed. So LeBlanc comes out as another mid lane ban, this time from the side of Gamers 2. And on the opposite side, it is Kennen. And they did this yesterday as well as their final ban.
They did. They banned Nidalee as well for Reason Gaming. Remember, as we said, Gamers 2 yesterday didn't have any bans. There was a lot more open as we went through the early picks and bans phase yesterday. So what will Reason? Will they stick with the Nidalee? Will they change it up a little bit here for their last ban? Gamers 2 banned Zed. So, you know, another mid lane priority. We know Take Fun plays Zed.
Yep.
That's something that is pretty much a given whenever you play against Reason.
Yeah, yeah. Take Fun and his assassins.
Yes,
is,
exactly.
The story of that one.
Sadly, no Fizz for him anymore.
No,
He's now
I know.
top lane champion.
Rest in peace, his soul.
Yeah, Take Fun, man. He's having his champion pool kind of reduced.
Yeah.
By DFG and
Piece by
goodbye
piece.
Take Fun's champion.
Yeah,
pool.
literally just like, I've never really broken it down like that. But
okay,
hello,
hang
Jarvan
on.
ban, interesting.
That's
so,
different.
Yeah, because this is post changes to Jarvan, and they still feel a threat from Gilius with his Jarvan.
And they banned Nidalee yesterday, and Nidalee is open, and Nidalee is a top tier jungler. So Gilius is a Jarvan player. That is something that is pretty much out there. We saw him play with SK at Worlds. We've seen him playing way back on Unicorns of Love. You know, he plays Jarvan. Is it that strong a pick right now that it is worth banning at this situation? Because yes, it still has everything else that Jarvan had, apart from the early game play. You still have the engage, you still have the knock-up and the crowd control.
But that is so important because you can punish that so hard, and, well, what do you know? It's going to be Nidalee coming out as the first pick from Gamers 2. They kind of just let that one slide, but they had an immediate response in the form of Lissandra and Kalista. Yeah,
and when we've been going through LCS pick and ban phases, typically Kalista has been a very high-profile pick, and Lissandra, mainly because Lissandra is one of the best forms of engage onto a Kalista. Kalista you can only really engage on reliably with a point-and-click stun, and that comes from Lissandra's ultimate. So the fact that they've got Nidalee here and given the Lissandra over to Reason Gaming gives them a very easy 1-2 on the picks.
Yeah, and it's also great early on into the phase because it's a flags pick. It could go anywhere. This leaves their comp ambiguous. Really nice from Reason Gaming coming in here. And then Gamers 2, how do they respond? Do they even go double AD? We'll see, that's the question. But they do have this Nidalee coming in here, so they have that nice early game jungler.
Yeah, so they wanted to get Gilius onto something comfortable here, but there was a lot open. Rek'Sai was available as well, should they have gone for it. So now Gamers 2 have to look for something else. We saw the Korkiani in the last game. We're going to see it here again in this game. So
see if it does a little better.
Yeah, we'll see if it does do a little better, and maybe no flashes into a QSS. As I did notice, Voidal kind of did one of those at the end of the last game.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, I was watching Gamers 2 playing Origin earlier today. And Gamers 2 were playing a very unorthodox comp. they actually were playing Mordekaiser, I'm not lying here, with Lissandra. They played Mord mid, Liss top, and I don't believe Mordekaiser is available because of the rework.
Correct.
We'll have to figure that out, but in this situation they won't have the Lissandra available, so I wonder whether Games 2 have anything else that's different and new. They are trying out a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, Rek'Sai was available, so that just means Reason Gaming are going to pick it. We also have that Callista, so, you know, we haven't seen Nunu in EU too much, but that could have also been an option for them here. And we do have maybe even the Leona, so that has a lot of engage. You've got the Rek'Sai burrowing in, and then in comes the Leona. And that's also the Leona-Annie matchup that we saw from last game as well.
Yeah, it is indeed. So solo lane is still to go for Gamers 2. Will they go for the fairly standard of just picking Ahri, as she is pretty strong right now? And that might be a mid lane pick for them. What would they go for the top lane? So they know that they're up against potentially, well, they know there's going to be a flex of Lissandra. So what exactly is going to be the choice here? This would be a very poke-heavy composition if they lock all of this in and then have a little bit of engage from the Scion. But, and of course, Annie. But
so they pick up the Scion, and Nar's open right here as well.
Yeah.
It's been said before that Scion's kind of a discount Nar, but they choose to go for him regardless, and they both kind of do have that engage. I guess Scion's reliable in the sense you can ult whenever you want to ult, but not reliable in the fact that he just runs at you.
My problem here is you're picking Scion into a fairly strong solo laner of Lissandra, or a potentially stronger solo laner, somebody else that can bully you around. So maybe if Reason want to put Kuban onto Rumble again, I believe he played it yesterday, we may very well see that again. Yeah, he did play
into
Rumble.
Lissandra.
No, he played the Irelia matchup of that side. He went 11-1
Yes,
and
Smitty J
11. I was
played the
thinking
Rumble,
of,
yeah.
yes, that is indeed what happened. But I mean, there's a lot still available for Reason to do here that they can pick their lane. They know they're up against an AD mid laner and a Scion top. Likely to be Ezreal in the mid lane. We've seen this comp from quite a few people here. We saw a lot out of FLICKR with, or at least with the Ezreal in the mid lane. Not quite so much this this lineup. But a Maokai here, you have to feel would give Scion, if you're in a 1v1, a fairly easy lane. But if you're looking to 2v1 and lane swap, Scion is very good, Maokai is okay, and has his prominence later into the game.
Indeed, so there's a couple of options for Reason Gaming right now and what they want to do. Maokai would kind of just go right down the middle, as it were, in this one. So only a couple seconds before that's locked in, and it doesn't look like that's the case. So Reason Gaming do have their full roster coming in here. They have that engaged from Leona, from Lissandra, from the Rek'Sai even, and that's just such a big front line for Callista to just run circles around the enemy team.
And we've spoken about Celiva putting up good stat lines. This time, they're not relying so much on Kuban to carry. This time, they're like, Celiva, we're going to give it to you.
Yeah,
We've
here
got
you go.
everything to protect you.
Yeah, and we'll see if he does indeed do that. And we spoke a little bit about the Gamers 2 composition. They've got that long-range poke, and they have the engage from like Annie and from Scion. Whereas, well, it's like instant engage from Annie, whereas Scion will get there eventually, whereas everyone kind of parts.
This is a really interesting comp from Gamers 2 in the way that it doesn't have one clear focus. You've got the poking ability, but then the rest of the champions don't exactly lend themselves to do much after the poke. Yes, you get the engage, but normally you're so far back against a Nidalee and an Ezreal that Annie engage and Scion engage should be fairly easy to see coming. So it's all about controlling vision for Reason Gaming.
Yeah, I almost would have liked to see maybe a Veigar, because then you get the poke, and then you can just like, boop, there's the event horizon, and then we siege. But then you have the Annie.
This is 5.4.
It is,
so
yeah. Oh, Veigar, yeah.
New Veigar,
yeah.
so
Indeed, you're absolutely right, Stress. And that also means he's disabled because he's had such a big change to him. He's actually got that Q that now goes through a minion, which is a little cool.
Yeah, you know, we're not seeing it in this game.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna worry myself about Veigar when we actually do end up seeing him. But in this game, we have the Annie against the Leona down in that bottom lane. We saw it in the last game. The Leona came out ahead. Pretty much unanimously, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like, Leona's great at getting on top of Annie, of course, so in the laning phase, maybe that's something they want to swap out of. We'll see as we get into this game, but you saw the prime example of that happening in the last game, because, yeah, you jump on Annie, and she dies. So, yeah that's the end of that story.
Pretty much,
all she wrote.
That is all she wrote. You know, looking at the Gamers 2 lineup, they can kind of afford to pick the Scion top in the sense that when you pick a Scion top, you need to have damage sources coming from elsewhere. Nidalee is a damage source in this game. You know, obviously Ezreal and Corki will have their own damage, so they're okay kind of reducing the amount of damage that they have on the Scion. I just wonder, because Celiva is likely to go Blade of the Ruined King at some point on Callista, so it's not like Reason should have much trouble dealing with the Scion as it gets later into the game. just looking for how those kind of interactions go.
Yeah, I mean, the Blade Rune King will give them the kite around the team, which you can kite around, which would be pretty much a no-brainer. But yeah, I mean, yesterday we saw a very decisive win up against Gamers 2, and it was way more decisive than I was expecting. I would like to see today whether they've figured out their opponents, because they did the same last week when they played Lowland Lions. And by day 2, they had really just figured them out, and they went for that 25-minute win. So I'm really just hoping that they've done this time around to at least even up the tables.
And, you know, Gamers 2 weren't happy about yesterday. They really weren't happy about their loss. They were very vocal about it, actually, when you go back on social media. And you have to wonder, does that stir up a fire inside of Gamers 2 to come back? And this would actually be our first series that would go one-on-one if Gamers 2 were to win this. I think it's possible as well. Or does that kind of dwell on your mind that you lost yesterday? That's something that Gamers 2 would have had to have dealt with overnight. And they lost earlier to Origin as well. So it hasn't been the best 24 hours for Gamers 2. So whatever they have to do, they have to focus themselves.
Yeah, and right now they're in the middle of the standings after those 5 games. So a win here would start equalizing them, and then they would still be tied, but further up. But losing here would really start putting them even near Maus, who are near the bottom. And Gamers 2, we came into this one when they were previously Nevo, when we came out of the qualifiers, and we were like, this is really the team which will probably be challenging Origin for those top 2 spots. And so far, the other teams have just performed and gotten so much better from week to week to week, whereas Gamers 2... yes, they've done well against certain teams, but haven't kind of blown us out of the water in kind of the way we were expecting them to play.
I've noticed a trend with Gamers too. If Gilius gets ahead in the early game, they tend to have a lot more cohesion. Gilius tends to lead from the front in that situation, and certainly on Nidalee, that is one champion that can do it. It's one of the only champions currently that has an okay time against Rek'Sai. Both of them have sustain, both of them have damage, so it's going to be on Gilius to get himself at least into Zayu's jungle and start, you know, causing trouble.
Yeah, but as we do get into the game, tab over to Twitter and use the hashtags G2win or RGwin to throw in your vote for who you think will down the Nexus, and we'll check in on your responses during the match.
Yeah, indeed. And, you know, as we said, importance. This could determine the second place team here. That could determine who's going into the playoff brackets as that number 2 seed.
Well, of course you want it, because most likely Origin will be number 1 seed, and you don't want any of that until you get to the finals. So, yeah, it would give you a much nicer road to try and get into that final spot.
It would do, indeed. And, you know, that is always the big concern now is, okay, so top spot is probably gone. There's still the tiniest glimmer of hope. If we win every game from here, and Origin lose every game from here, it's going to be okay. But no.
I wouldn't take those chances.
I'm not a betting man, so no, neither would I at that point. But I would bet on the fact that we're going into game.
Yeah, and that would be dead certain, because they are going onto the spawn pads. Here we go, Celeb coming in. He will be binding Libic. There we go. Whoop. He comes back alive, and he will be heading on to the Rift. Those two are now bound up and ready to put down the hurt onto the bot lane. It will be Jeebus and Heaver, unless they decide to do some lane swap shenanigans. And right now, we do see Reason Gaming. Will they fan out? Because they were all keeping together for a couple seconds, but it looks like they are going to do just that.
You talk about lane swap shenanigans. If there were 2 top laners to kind of maybe indicate the potential of a lane swap, Sion is certainly one of them, and Maokai is another, but Heaver, oh, he's been caught.
Oh, is that Voidal? It's not. It's Heaver, as he's moving back, taking a couple more auto attacks. He even laughs it off, and Celeber puts down his ward. There's wards in return. All the warding.
The orchestra of wards there. Yeah. You know, wards, when multiple are placed, have different tones, and Libic will now have heard how many wards go down. Heaver's caught again.
Again, he jumps onto him with the Zenith Blade. There's the Ignite. Is it going to be enough? He has put down his own biscuit, so he chews through that and will be keeping himself alive. Libic takes a bunch of damage. Jeebus does the same. Aiku, all the meanwhile, was putting down the hurt onto Saliver and everyone else who was retreating, and he'll continue up the trend. Sion was there to block them off, but he's by himself right now until the cavalry arrives. Saliver actually just walks back into them. There's the heal. He'll have to flash away, but both of his summoners. Take Fun now responds with his own Ice Shard, and the spear comes through, doesn't quite connect onto the Lysandra.
Okay, I'm taking a look at what summoners were blown there, because Reason actually come out behind from that expedition into the jungle. Yes, they got a lot of deep vision. Yes, they should be able to spot out for a lane swap. I wonder how long they're going to hold on for this. Yes, G2 also got their own wards down. It'll be less likely that they can find it, but one thing that did, I was going to say did disrupt, but it actually didn't. Smitty J is able to now just go over to the Raptor camp and actually do the Scion level 1 strat where you suicide to the Raptors, teleport back up to top lane as level 2. I believe that Reason were trying to maybe stop him from doing that with a Maokai sapling. So Reason overall come out behind in that.
Yeah, it was a lot happened, but yes, Reason Gaming overall did come out slightly behind in that trade.
They did. You know, with the Scion level 1 strat, we've also seen the Maokai level 1 strat with the saplings. Kubon dropped a little bit low off that, but both of them should be able to get back to the lane.
Yeah, it just means they both burn the teleports as
well.
Yeah,
exactly. They both get the level, both burn the teleport. Smitty J did get back a little bit sooner, though.
Yeah, it just meant he was able to get an extra minion over Kubon. He didn't get in range for the 1 minion that died, so he's going to be ever so slightly behind, but this is not a lane that's just going to be like butting. What? They butt heads all the time, but they're not really going to die because of it.
Yeah, not really going to find too many kills, but bottom lane is a lane we have to kind of watch out for here, because Celeber now has no summoner spells. He doesn't have flash or heal, and no ignite on the side of Libic, so there's really no kill pressure from Reason in this bottom lane, unless Gamers 2 mess up pretty hard here. They still have heal and flash if they were to catch Annie, potentially, but they have to respect, again, the burst that is going to come from Corki and Annie.
Yeah, especially when they get a bunch of levels under their belt, and the fact that Celeber has no summoners, which means they can't be as aggressive as they may have wanted. Just see Zayu flashing up red in the jungle. No need for concern, as he is only just fueling those creeps, and I have a feeling he'll come out ahead.
Yeah, he'll sustain himself up as he goes between camp to camp here. And Zayu's done pretty much a full clear here. In fact, it is a full clear, and he will be able to go back. These are pretty much the... Nobody saw that. These are pretty much the two junglers that can actually do this kind of full clear in the early game. It's a very greedy style, and if you actually get invaded on, it's very dangerous to do if your enemy calls you out on it. But because of the sustain, because of the damage, they're comfortable to do it. However, Gilius now has the health to gank. He's full health. He's going in.
First gank of the game comes into the bot lane. Here comes the pounce, the swipe, the auto attacks, and the takedown. The first blood for Corki will be getting that kill. Moving on to Libic as well. Does not quite have the damage to finish off the support, but a nice 1-0 opens up the game for Gamers 2.
Great start out by Gilius. Not only did he do a full clear, also comes down for the gank because he was healthy enough for it. And that is the start that Gamers 2 needed to turn this series around. They were, after yesterday's defeat, as we said, a little bit saddened by the result. This is the beginning that they need. You need kills and assists onto Nidalee to get her into a good position before that kind of dip in the mid game that we've seen out of Jungle Nidalee.
Indeed, and hopefully that's where Iker and Jeebus will pick up the slack, because we all know how strong that Corki and the 24 spikes that we'll be getting from those two players will be. In the mid lane, it's Iker up against Take Fun here. Just have that Lissandra now coming into play, this time flexed into the mid lane. Depict Kubon picking up the Maokai up there. Even went Lumberjack Scion as well. Does not make him super effective against Maokai.
You'd think it would.
You would.
Unfortunately, this...
would.
Oh dear. Am I casting the NACS right now?
Maybe, maybe. Here comes a Decimating Smash. Got him.
Got him, but you couldn't really collect the... do you know what, I'm not even going to try with the Lumberjack
Stress is
puns.
just done, dude.
I'm done. I'm clearly not a Lumberjack.
I'm not, but yeah,
I'm still working on becoming the Rift.
Can she chop down Hiva? Comes in with the Xenoblade, comes out with the Eclipse as well. Jeebus is putting down the damage onto Celeber, but now he's overextended. You just have all those spears for the Rend from Callista coming out. Hiva responds with the Incinerate. Meanwhile, the junglers going head-to-head. And along with the mid lane there to assist, Zayu will come out on top and takes away the big Raptor.
He does indeed. And you know what? In that little engage in the bot lane, G2, they got the heal from Celeber. I think they were actually expecting to get the kill potentially, but then timing worked out coincidentally in their favor because they get the heal. So even though they couldn't complete the kill, still getting a lot out of this bottom lane. Zayu, however, wants to get something here as Hiva is sticking around in lane.
Well, circling down Hiva, here comes the dive in. Libic, can he stay alive though? This needs to be really clean, and he just walk out and gets that one. So 3-on-1, they come out with the kill. They will return with that first kill of the game for their side, making that 1-1 overall.
Oh, Libic just teasing with the edge of tower radius there. I actually thought it still stayed in tower. But at that point, Reason That was just pretty well-worked gang by them.
Yeah.
However, Gilius is going to punish Zayu a little bit. Oh,
Whoa,
Linek is on a ward.
Jeebus right on top of him. There's a phosphorus bomb. Celebi will just be trying to
Kite
kite
back.
back, but Jeebus has just come back from base. He's a little bit stronger, and he'll keep up the aggression with that phase. He's got the extra movement speed. He'll have to flash away. Jeebus comes in for the double, the 1-on-2. Wow, unbelievable play from Jeebus. That's a hashtag big play if I've ever seen one.
Really nice play out of Jeebus, and Gilius is looking to follow up with another one. Kuban, very low on mana.
Just needs to land the spear, and point blank, he's going to get it. The pounce comes through, there's the swipe, follows it with the takedown. Smitty J will just try to get all the tower angle before he comes with it. Oh, the bot lane, there will be Ica coming through with the assist, and that will just allow Gilius to get in, get out. Take Fun comes in from the bot side. Can he catch up? He's already used the glacial path. He's got ultimate. He doesn't have ultimate. He has flash, though. The ice shot is not in range. Zayu's too late to the party, and that makes it 4-1 to Gamers 2.
Now, this is a much quicker game out of Gamers 2. Better pace from them, and they've already used this Nidalee to their advantage. Reason, kind of maybe an oversight leaving it open as the first pick here. Banning Jarvan instead of Nidalee is allowing Gilius onto a champion that not only is he quite strong on, but is also top tier in the current meta.
Yeah.
Maybe really a bit of an oversight out of Reason.
Yeah, that slight blunder in Champion Select, and they even banned it yesterday, so they
Yeah.
knew it was a problem. They were just like, well, we beat them so quickly, I guess we can just do it again, but apparently not. Gilius has turned up on Nidalee this game. Mid lane, Zayu will just be able to take care of that before Take Fun returns to lane.
Oh, Celebi.
Well, hop, skipping, and jumping will be Annie from the top bush. Doesn't get in range to land the Tibbers, though.
Still has a flash, not quite level 6
No.
at this point, but
Also a
still
problem
has
when you went on.
flash. Yeah, she hasn't quite found Tibbers yet, but at this point, everything on that bottom lane relies... Oh, so close. Relies on that flash timing from Annie being available. And the moment that Libic reaches 6 as well. Those are two key points in this bottom lane matchup, but honestly a 3-0 Corki right now is able to output so much more damage than Celebi can.
And the rockets come through. He is definitely in control of this lane, even though the CS is basically the same. He's got those 2 kills up onto Celebi this game. We even spoke about this game being Celebi's kind of one to win, because Reason Gaming have that front line. They have everything that is kind of... Everything, all the conditions are right for Celebi to beat the carry in this game, but has gone 1-2 and 0, and Gilius has really been one of the factors that have put him behind. Plus the plays from Jeebus.
And Celebi knows that he has to just wait and sit around for a while and wait until team fights, because he can't sit in this lane. He's had to buy level 2 boots already. Will not have a big damage item for a very long time in this matchup, and they rely on Zayu now coming into this lane. With these level 2 boots, it's basically signaling that they need to get themselves into an engage so that Celebi can output damage over a long period of time and then pull with one big rend. Kind of just sit there, but they don't even want this fight. They sense that Gilius is potentially around here, maybe stuck himself into the back of the lane, and they're going to back away.
And now they
even
even
spotted him. Yeah.
The minions are now there. Why did he even
A little bit
interesting?
Another oversight by Reason. After such a convincing game yesterday, they're not quite doing the little things right, and Take Fun's going to go aggressive.
There's the Glacial Tomb. I found it, Stress, and it's right onto Ica. He comes in with the Ice Shard as well, takes him down in the bus. He had that warded from the pink ward.
Really nice read by Take Fun, and the thing that really signaled that engage, Ezreal ulted up through the minions to push. That's what you do on Ezreal. You reduce your opponent's ability to roam, but because of it, you lose so much of your damage that you're not actually able to do anything. Take into account with that cleanse has only just become available for Ica. Great timing out of Take Fun.
Yeah, it's also Frozen Doom. I think it's a Glacial. Either way, we do have Gilius coming into the bot lane here. Maybe trying to get this gank through. Lands the spear onto the side of Celebi. That's enough to just send them packing. He'll just sit a turret, and all he needs to do is just run from here. They know they have the pressure down there, and it's enough to scare them. And now there is a big CS, actually, differential opening up between the bot lane as Jeebus continues to put down the hurt, put down the harassment onto Sadra and Libic. But let's take a step back. Let's take a look at some of the items that have been picked up, because Ica has gone for the traditional Muramana build, where he'll be building against that with Mana Moon. Has picked that up in the mid lane. His opponent, Take Fun, maybe looking for the Zhonyas here, has picked up the Neos Nival's Rod component. See if he goes anywhere else. The only other option would be Death Cap, but Gamers 2 now move on to the Dragon, and with that significant early game lead, they're trying to convert this into an even bigger one in the form of this Drake objective.
Yeah, Reason are going to have the timer on this, but there's not really too much that they can do right now, save from a Miracle Steal, but not even in position for it. Zayu was looking for it, now gets flashed on.
Right, the Tivus comes down onto Zayu, who will burrow over the wall, but there's the flash, and flash! This time around, Gilius is right on top of him. He turns around the Queen's Wrath. It almost was enough damage. Even with it maybe True Damage Fury's bite coming through, it might have been enough damage to take down Gilius. Was not the case. A nice 1-0. Lots of summons burn.
Lots of summoners, indeed. And with that Dragon going over 2 Gamers 2, they are continuing to extend this lead right now. And they need to get Take Fun doing more than just killing his lane. And while that's doing a good job for them now, with Dragon not on the table for the next 6 minutes, there isn't really too much that Reason can group for. They now just have to group in response to Gamers 2, which means they have to kind of beat them around the map. No turrets have fallen yet, so we are still in the laning phase as such, but expect Gamers 2 to be more proactive here, and as soon as they sense an opportunity, pull people to another lane and push down a turret.
Right now, Take Fun in the mid lane. He's having a little bit of fun, trying to get those ice shards down. He just managed to pick up that kill just a couple seconds ago, so he's fairly happy with where he is at. We do have that Blade of the Ruin King you were talking about from Celeber. He's building towards that with the Bilgewater Cutlass now in his inventory. Smitty J in the top lane trading with Kuban. Not a whole lot happening. To be expected. Celeber in the bottom lane though, he's by himself. He does land the Incinerate and the stun as well. Jeebus right past the tower aggro, comes in with the auto attacks and the E as well. Slivic comes in, he was pulled away there by the Cholesterol Smith. Jeebus comes down, there's the Soul Flare, knocks him into the graveyard. Ezreal ultimate comes across, not 2 times the charm, but Kuban does head into the fight. He burned a teleport, but he's too late.
Yeah, that's interesting teleport out of Kuban in this situation. There's no damage dealers there to assist him, and he has to take down 2 full health targets and leave Smitty J available to push the turret up in top. Mid lane again.
Yeah, he saves Neil, but he's already got the cleanse, but the damage may be enough, and he's still taking from the Ignite. The Cast Minion actually comes in for the last auto. Take Fun, though, is under attack by Gilius, and the Cougar takes him out for a 1-for-1 in the mid lane, plus the assist on Ica.
But again, it's Gilius that is turning these around. That should have been a clean engage from Take Fun. He would have got the flash and the cleanse out from Ica if he didn't want to follow up the engage for the kill. But in comes Gilius, and Take Fun has to commit, has to make sure he gets that kill. Otherwise, it just doesn't work for them. But Libic has roamed up. Gilius, half health, in no man's land.
He's on the hunt. There's a Shield of Daybreak right into Zenith Blade. And there's the shutdown from Celeber, trying to get himself back into this game. 2-3-1 right now. That was definitely the first step to doing so.
Basically, what Reason have said here is that we're going to pick something up from another lane because Jeebus is too strong for us in this bottom lane. We cannot sit here. The turret is already taking damage, so let's prepare for the inevitability that we have to come to mid. And, you know, this Bilgewater Cutlass on Celeber, there's, as always with item builds, 2 schools of thoughts with different AD carries and different builds. Hey, that's the same Crosstown Express, blue buff to blue buff again that Amazing took. Wonder whether they got a return ticket. But yeah, the Bilgewater Cutlass builds, normally great when you're ahead. You don't quite have as much damage over a short amount of time.
There you go.
He gets it. Ike's been on point.
And try again.
Yeah, indeed.
Yep, persistence is a virtue. Take Fun comes into the mid lane. He's no longer got that blue buff, but he's full mana anyway, so he's not too bad. 2-1-0 right now. He has actually gone for that Zhonya's Hourglass for that build. Heaver, with the lane pushing from Ica, he is able to take away this pink ward here, so establishing some vision control. You can see those very deep wards into the bottom jungle actually coming in from Reason Game, despite how the game state is with them being behind. Whereas Gamers 2, yes, they kind of have some vision control around the mid lane, but I was kind of expecting a little more with how much control they've had over the game.
Yeah, you would expect more control out from Gamers 2. A lot of the wards are just starting to time out, but Ica, no cleanse.
Yeah, no cleanse, and there comes the Frozen Tomb coming out. Zayu takes another tower shot. Gilius comes in for the cleanup. He gets one. Gilius, oh, there's the Soul Flare coming down. Another ice shot as well from Take Fun. He's got his double buffs. He's reclaimed it. And Heaver, one more auto attack. There's the red buff taking as well. Triple kill for Take Fun. Now Jeebus comes into the fray. Can he make something happen? Misses 2 rockets in a row and says, I'm done here.
So we said that this could be a Protect Celeber comp, but honestly, what are they going to do against Take Fun right now? Because Take Fun 5-1-0. Zhonya's Hourglass already completed in this Lissandra versus Ezreal matchup. Very difficult to deal with, and you can see that Ica is just crumbling under the pressure. 0-3 3-3 in the early onset of this game.
Yeah, not the greatest of starts from Iker. His ultimates have been good, but everything else has been less good.
Yeah, he's just been forced by Take Fun to just burn his summoners. Pretty much on
Over
cooldown.
and over again.
Every time Take Fun knows they're up, oh, pop the cleanse. Get the heal. And, you know, just Take Fun's doing a good job of that.
Yeah, and Zayo just clearing out the middle wave here, maybe aggressing onto Jeebus. But you can see the vote coming in here, 62% to Gamers2, despite their loss yesterday. And you may even be right, because 600 gold advantage coming in here. They are ahead, but Reason Gaming have definitely started to stabilize the game.
They have, but it's going to take them a while. I believe, yeah, this is this mid-lane fight that did just happen. Iker, no summoners. This is easy pickings here. Yes, Zayu does end up dropping for it. Takes a lot of damage. But Gilius, in wanting to chase this kill, actually kind of gets baited in a little bit into Libic in this fight. And just pops off the Ice Shard.
Yeah. There's also the positioning of Tibbers, which allowed him to get the damage from behind there. But Hiva was also in prime position, and that's the triple kill. He's in really nice shape. He's even got the Phoenix Codex coming in here as well. You can no longer get Death Grasp, but you can find a use for that one.
Rest in peace. Anyway, Triforce has been completed here. That is a big moment here for this Corki. 4-1-1. It's a very early Triforce. Take into account Kalista on that Blade of the Ruined King. Surprisingly, is, well, I would say surprisingly, but knowing this game, how it has gone, is behind on farm now by about 25 CS. And that's something very interesting, actually, because Jeebus, in pretty much every game that they've played, has been ahead of their opponents in CS. Typically, it's only about a wave and a half at the 10-minute mark, but this time, he's actually way ahead of Celiva in this matchup.
Yeah. Way ahead, indeed. And now everyone is grouped into this mid lane. Dragon is now live, so they'll continue to go head-to-head and dance around not only the middle lane, but now around this Dragon area. Do have the Celiva just to the bottom side here. Does not want to get caught by Gamers2, which have kind of cut him off. He can't quite get to his team, so he'll have to take the long route around, but they have that warded. So they do go for the initiate here. Take Fun comes with the Glacial Path. There's the Ezreal ultimate coming across, but is it enough damage? Jeebus comes down. He's actually very low himself. Everyone's focusing him out. He finally goes down, but they've committed so much to him. Livic almost gets caught by the decimating smash, but doesn't get CC'd. Smitty J is so tanky. Timmons is even chiming in here as well. Kuban is just on the backside. Celiva jumps over the wall, but he still goes down. Livic is saying, peace out, I'm out of here. And Kuban is the last sacrificial tree. 4-4-1, and they'll move on to the Dragon.
Easy cleanup for Gamers2 from the beginning, and as you said, Celiva had to cut his way up through the river to get to that fight. And for so much of the fight, he was trying to jump up over the wall and couldn't get it. Comes back down, then flashes over. Celiva held onto his flash a little bit more than perhaps he could have in that little engage, and Gamers2 will take themselves a Dragon and the 4 kills from it. They're in a great position. Yeah,
so all that work that Reason Gaming have done over the last couple of minutes for naught, but we're going to see that one again.
We are. Hiva looked like he was caught out here, and look at the damage that just comes from Jeebus and Gilius in this situation. Hiva still half health. Yes, they get the knock-up here, I believe, on Jeebus, and yes, they do end up killing him, but take a look at Celiva's positioning here. He's hopping around the fight, avoids a lot of the crowd control, but in this situation, isn't able to get himself into a position to try and get up over the wall. Big spike of damage means that after the flash, he's dead anyway.
Yeah, I kind of thought of the option a little too late there, because Tibbers was in the position if he wanted it, but yeah, not quite the case. Zayu coming in from the left-hand side. Trying to maybe get something done onto Jeebus. He is the prime target for Reason Gaming. Now 3,000 gold behind, so they are opening up that big gap once again with those 2 objectives on their side. And hello, Blue, what are you doing there?
Yeah, what is he doing there? But, well, Gilius is going to take him out anyway. But, you know, that was the time for Gamers2 to fight, though. We'd already mentioned Trinity Force was picked up. I believe the Frozen Heart as well onto Sion. They just had so much in that engage that played into Gamers2's favor. Even though some decent crowd control out of Reason hit, Jeebus is just too strong right now. However, Reason Gaming will take down mid-turret. And maybe with their first turret of the game, it might get them back on track.
Nice. Chilling Smite comes through, followed by the Solar Flare. Jumped out by Iker, burning that big summoner. Comes across with a 2-shot barrage, landing onto 2. Zayu was still being chased after. Gilius was on the hunt for him, but didn't quite get him down. Meanwhile, Smitty is jumping onto Libic. There's a lot of spears right through him, but there's a great Fate's Call. We'll be dragging him back to his AD carry, and they make a swift escape.
just enough to save them. But Gamers 2 right now know that that pressure was enough, because now they can just siege this bottom lane turret. Take a look at top lane. There's a big wave pushing into the inner turret. So someone from Reason has to go and sort that out. Reason are not in a position to defend their turret, so Gamers 2 from here can just kind of push this down. Heaver.
Yeah, they're completely separated between the rock and a hard place, and now Kuban comes to engage onto Ica. Jeebus over the wall as well. He's right in the thick of the fight, and no one can focus him down. Zayu now comes in, gets the land shark, jump onto Jeebus, but everyone's there to defend him. Kuban should be falling here. Everyone's so low. This could even be a 5-4-0 here. There's the Foss bomb. He goes down. And Libic and Kuban are running away for their lives on less than 10% HP and critical health. They'll take the bottom turret. Gamers 2 on a rampage.
Heaver spotted the great time to go aggressive onto Take Fun. He got him!
No way!
Whoa, twice in a game. Ica puts his True Shot Barrage across the map and picks up, well, first time he got an assist. That time was a kill. But that, oh, wow. Great timing on the ultimate out of Ica in that Ezreal
So many big
play.
plays this game, dude.
I was wanting to go back. I was ready in my head to go back to the beginning of that fight. He just drew me right back to the end. But now is my time to go back. Look, Heaver spots Take Fun out, and they know how many of the kills have gone on to Take Fun. Forced the Zhonya's after the stun. A great timing by Smitty J. Holds on until there are far more people under the queue. Then Take Fun can't even save himself with his ultimate in that little engage there. And Gamers 2, grouping Reason into a tiny area, are able to turn the damage around from Jeebus.
Yeah, Zayu really wanted to get on top of Jeebus, but everyone had just kind of formed that protective shell around him, and it was just his time to shine. Picks up Celever and Ica with that fantastic snipe.
He got it. He got him good. That's,
Yep,
man,
got him.
Ica, that goes onto Ica's highlight reel for sure.
Yeah. That is for sure. Take Fun now sitting in this jungle, looking for another pick, perhaps. He's gone back to base, has the Morello Nomicon. Spear comes through, doesn't land onto Zayu. Does follow through with a lot of poke damage. You have to take...
take care, Take Fun.
Yeah, take care, Take Fun. Oh, not this time.
Dancing
Sidesteps
shoes
it.
are on for Take Fun.
He's going to recoil here in a very risky situation, and Gamers 2 are being way more decisive about this. They're pushing right down the middle lane, right into their doorstep. Zayu also separated from the pack. They may even just sweep around and maybe pick him off. He's heading towards the team. This is a risky place to be.
Whoa, that damage onto Celever.
A lot of damage.
Man, that is an Infinity Edge Triforce Corki. Ooh, Spear landed through as well.
Okay, Reason Gaming are trying for the engage. Can they make it better than the last one? Take Fun will be using that ultimate on himself. Kuban's in the back line, but there's no one to deal the damage for him. He's distracting them, though. Has this bought the team enough to do anything else? The answer is no. Everyone is low from Gamers 2, but they just don't have anything left. Nothing left in their arsenal, and they'll just finish what they came for. They take the middle turret.
Yeah, and Gamers 2 right now just utilizing this poke from the three, Nidalee, Ezreal, and Corki just so very well. Smitty J's just standing there as a front line as well, and Gamers 2 are so far ahead right now. Reason Gaming are struggling under all of this poke. They just haven't got the money to buy defensive items. Not even Zayu has had a chance to finish off his Warmogs here. It's still in pieces in his inventory.
Yeah, and it would be a good pickup if he can pick it up, because there's so much mixed damage coming in. But yeah, it's just been spears, spears, mystic shots, spears, and just so much poke from Gamers 2. And when they're ahead, it's so much every single time it hits Reason Gaming that they're just finding it difficult to hold on. And they're kind of making the right decision. They're jumping in, they're going for those team fights, but it's never executed well enough where it puts them ahead because of those good decisions.
Yeah, that I think is fair to say right now. And this is a very different Reason Gaming and Gamers 2 game than we saw yesterday.
It
Very
could be
different.
very first one-on-one. Every single series so far has gone 2-0.
That could be the case, and it looks like that's what was poised to be. You know, this actually looks like a role reversal from yesterday. Gamers 2 look about as strong as how Reason Gaming were yesterday, and vice versa. Because although Take Fun is doing, or was doing a good job, he's gone from being 5-1 to 5-4 now in this matchup. And on the other side, Gilius is having a good game. We said if he gets ahead, he tends to do a good job. 5-2-8 currently on this Nidalee. And you have to think again, it was an oversight by Reason. They're going to engage.
There's Libic, he comes for the engage. There comes the Frozen Tomb once again. Can this go better for them? Take Fun will be going into a Zhonya. Smitty J from the side. They'll be taking down Kuban once again. He comes out of there, so that's a 1-for-1 overall. Reason Gaming do take something away from that fight, but they're still behind. And they take the top turret coming in here. The middle lane is pushing, and this is getting out of control. Only 26 minutes in.
Yeah, bottom lane is pushing as well here for for Gamers 2. You can see they're already on to the Nexus turrets, and Gamers 2 are onto the Inhibitor turret as well. They've done a good job in this game of using this poke composition to a good effect, and Gamers 2 right now, 10,000 gold up in the lead. Smitty J.
Telekinesis.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, whatever floats your boat. Jeeva's coming in here, putting down the poke. Reason Gaming, Libic does get caught here, but they're taking so much damage, and this is very early on to the game, but we may even be seeing an end to this one as they're still sieging up. They've taken those 3 inhibitors, and super minions are flooding into the base of Reason Gaming. We may be seeing them push this next turret in. Not quite yet. They're going to retreat and go back to Baron, make another play.
Yeah, they're going to head back, make sure that they've got all of their items, maybe even, as you said, pick up a Baron here. They should feel confident enough with the amount of damage they have on this team composition. And Gamers 2, this is what we're expecting out of them. This is exactly how they should be playing. And Zayu, can he do it? There's 2 men blocking him out. He's been stunned up.
Can he make the play? There's the Ezreal ultimate in for good measure. The inhibitor has respawned, but that's the Baron going down, and that will be going over to Gamers 2.
Gilius died to Baron during that engage. This engage isn't done.
Unbelievable, but Hiva comes in, he goes down as well. Now they move on to Ica, but he's just going to jump and dive away. Smitty J comes in from the side here. He's able to try and just tank up all of this damage, but now they're coming in for the extra damage from behind. Gamers 2, Ica and Jeeva's just kiting back. They're putting the damage onto Kuban. He goes out. Oh, Livic from the sidelines. He was just altered into them, but they don't have anything else to offer. Take Fun comes in. Jeeva's comes in for 1. He comes in for 2. He sweeps them up. Zayu from the sidelines moves on to Smitty. He gets him, but he jumps over the wall, and Smitty, with his dying breath, punches him in the gapper and takes him out.
In what is essentially a 4 versus 6, as Zayu dies, Respawns comes back to the fight with his ultimate as well. Gamers 2 just take that fight. They didn't even need Gilius after dying to Baron. That's going to be the end of the game. That was a crazy end to that game from Gamers 2. I'm at a loss for words on that one.
Yeah, like it looked scrappy in the last team fight. I was like, is this a comeback? Is this a comeback?
Yeah.
But all they were doing is just delaying time, and the minions were just there, just taking out the Nexus, which is kind of important.
Gamers 2 had got Jeeba so far ahead and put Celiva so far behind. You saw how much a Scion with that much defensive itemization was just standing in front of Celiva. We said later on into the game, when you've got a Blade of the Ruined King and the rest of the items on Kalista, you can start chunking through a Scion. Not when a Scion is that tanky and you're so far behind on Kalista. But honestly, Gamers 2, from the beginning, just never let up in that game.
Yeah, and from the beginning, it was Gilius, dude. Like, he's really been turning up in recent weeks. We were talking about his scoreline earlier. It was super good last week. But this is, again, we just saw that Gilius just getting better and better, and he really just brought them through the early game, and then the rest of the team could take it from there. And they passed on the baton, and they just took it to them. And that brings them 1-1 in this, it's not a best of 2 in these 2 games. So that evens it up, and that will put them tied now in the middle of the table instead of pushing them even further back. Yeah,
indeed. That maybe is what Gamers 2 needed to kind of steady the ship. And honestly, they looked so much stronger than yesterday. I'm glad to see Gamers 2 now kind of back on form.
Yeah, really nice to see indeed. But yeah, we're gearing up for our final game here. But yeah, that was really good to see from Gamers 2, I think it has to be said.
I mean, I completely agree with you, mainly because, you know, yesterday when we were watching the game, we were like, this isn't the Gamers 2 that we're expecting at all. And Jeebus, after a quieter week last week, has kind of come back into things and is now performing pretty well.
Yeah, indeed. But we need to give Nara a timeout. But when he's calmed down, Mount and Lowland Lions settle the score on Summoner's Drift. We'll see you in 3.5. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the EU Challenger Series. Before we get to Mouse and Lowland Lions, check out the featured Challenger article where our friends over at LOL Esports break down Origin's team composition that they used last week against Reason Gaming.
Yeah, and the author of the article, Glycerol, he dubbed this the Mage Mageddon comp. And I actually quite like that. You can see just how they utilized the Vigar stun. Sorry, this was 5.3. Not anymore, guys. On 5.4. Into the Dark Binding. And, just made their opponents go pop. And if you want to play the Mage Mageddon comp, or at least want a couple of tips on it, you're going to have to find that article. And to find it, you're going to have to head over to lolesports.com's Challenger portal, where you can find it under the news section.
But you guys at home actually have the luxury of playing Veigar, because these guys here can't play it, but you can now play the new Veigar with the delayed stun.
Yeah, you can indeed. And, after reading up about the composition and getting that all sorted, you can also stay on track with all of the EUCS standings and catch up on all the past matches, including Tuesday's games in full over on the VOD section.
Yes, indeed. But now it is time for our last game of Week 3 between Mouse and Lowland Lions. Mouse have not won a single game and are now 0-5 because of it. This is a team who was seriously lagging behind the rest and haven't shown many signs of improvement, to be perfectly honest. Especially Lowland Lions, who have started the round robin demolishing Dignitas EU, so they have a long ways to go. But a couple weeks ago, Mouse could be looking at this match and saying to themselves, this is our chance to get ourselves on the board here, Stress. But with the Lions on the up and up and Mouse stagnating, that doesn't look like the case anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely, all up in the air.
Yeah, it is indeed. So let's take a look at the rosters and run through them. So for the blue side, it is Mouse with Zazas, Robin, Soz Purefect, Cedrian, and Mountain.
It is indeed the lineup. And over on the other side, Morsu in the top lane, Kyrie in the jungle, CosQ in the mid lane with Visility and Hybrid as AD carry and support.
Yeah, and between these two teams, we want to bring the top laners to the spotlight because in recent weeks, the top lanes kind of been outshone by the mid lane, the AD carry talent, and we specifically want to see how these top laners and how their styles interact on the battlefield.
Yeah, and they are top laners with very different styles. Firstly, we'll look at Zazas, who typically plays tank or AP style top laners. In the last couple of weeks, he's been playing Nara and Dr. Mundo pretty much, and he's had a KDA of 1 in 3 games, average over the 3, and that's not exactly the best kind of spot you want. When you're playing Nara or Mundo, you want to be involved and not really dying a lot and getting a lot of assists, so that hasn't really worked out for them. On the other side of things, Lowland Lions Morsu is a far more carry-oriented top laner. Yes, he still plays the Nara, but then look at the rest of the champions. Irelia Jax Wukong. We were surprised by the Wukong last week as well, and he's only got a KDA of 1.7, so for as much as a carry top laner style, he's been dying a little bit as well. So, even with differences in their play styles, they're pretty similar with regards to their KDA and the actual effect that they have on the game.
Yeah, and we'll see what the effect was yesterday because these two teams went head-to-head. We'll see how this one worked out. So it was a very similar start to last week with the turret trades.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why Lowland Lions keep finding themselves in this kind of position, but they love to push turrets quickly. Bit of deja vu here. But this week, it works out a lot better for Lowland Lions as they take the 2 turrets and take a dragon without trading anything in return to Mouse.
Yeah, Lowland Lions start up this game extremely strong, and then they try to extend their lead coming into the bottom turret, trying to get their 3rd turret now, but Hybrid goes a little too ham, and Sajun just blows him up.
Yeah, indeed. But Kyrie turns his attention to the top lane, gets the kill on to Zazas. And, from there, they traded it out to bot lane.
Yeah, and while all this looks incredibly flashy from CosQ, he doesn't really accomplish anything. And Robin just comes in from the side and comes in for the bouncy castle play, chaining his Unburrow with the Wild Growth.
Yeah, and at this point, Cedriel's going to channel hit his inner Maple Street, take off his shoes, and bounce onto a double kill here in this mid-game fight.
Yeah, and 8 minutes later, Cedrian's time is up as he eats a charm courtesy of CosQ, who then follows up with another pixel-perfect charm, this time onto Robin, which secures him the 2nd kill of the fight.
And from here, back-to-back objective fights just around Dragon and Baron leaves Lowland Lions far enough ahead to completely shrug off this attempt at disrupting Baron here out from Mouse. And honestly, they take the Baron from themselves, and it looks very good.
Yeah, and Mouse just kind of squeak away, and the Lions just roar as they come in for the siege and the top lane inhibitor, and from here they just kind of close out the game. London Lions are so far ahead.
Yeah, we thought perhaps there was a bit of a comeback for Mouse at one point into this game. The game went a little little bit longer than we were expecting. But Lowland Lions overall were looking pretty strong in that game, and one of the reasons why was Kyrie. Look at that jungle Nidalee performance, ended up with 14.1k gold.
Yeah, kind of have to feel that people have to start taking away those Nidalees because they are starting to mount up with the stats. But in the top lane, we saw Morsu as well, did so well. 13.0 KDA, can't argue with that, and 260 CS to boot.
Yeah, and he was playing that Fizz, which we've seen take on that bruiser role now up in the top lane. But the last play we wanted to highlight was Mountain. Although his stats aren't exactly the greatest, he was one of the big proponents of what we thought could have been the comeback for MOUZ. He was landing a lot of dark bindings, getting himself into fights, and overall just looking pretty solid.
Yeah, indeed, and he'll have to do the same thing if he's able to try and actually get them a victory today in this game stress. But before we get into Champion Select, I'm interested to see where the bans go, honestly, because there's so many different directions they can go in, and especially with Morsi, we were talking about the top laners before, and how like a lot of the bans yesterday were all on him, and by a lot I mean all of them.
Yeah, almost all, I think would be fair to say. Well,
Lissandra was a flex pick, but again, could be aimed at the top.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I was looking at all 6 bans there, and I was thinking, that's,
Yeah, it's fairly unlikely for someone to ban out their own top lanes. Like, we really don't want you to play Nah. I'm going to ban it. Make sure you don't.
Well, I guess no, you've played enough games with me to know that you can ban my champions.
It's just like, oh, you like Leona? See ya.
Yeah, certainly though, in this game, as you said, I'm expecting a lot of focus on to Morsu.
Yeah, so we'll see what the first ban champion is going to be from MOUZ. They do have the blue side, so they have the first ban and the first pick to do what they want. And yeah, we've talked about the top lanes, and what do you know? Jax comes in 2 times for MOUZ, the second time now into that top lane of Morsu, and they respond with a mid lane ban in the form of Zed.
Yeah, straight away bans that are just pretty much carry style champions. Jax, Zed not going to be available, neither is Nidalee. So interesting that MOUZ would now ban Nidalee on the blue side. It was Lowland Lions playing Nidalee yesterday on the blue side. So MOUZ clearly don't feel confident enough in such a pick to first pick it for Robin.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Robin play a lot of Rek'Sai as well. Maybe they just want to try and default to that, and they ban it away. So Lowland Lions are saying, okay, we're going to start taking away your options. You're doing that to our jungler. They respond with the Aurelia, so they also take that one away. That leaves Lissandra open as well for possible flex from Lowland Lions, and that might be even the first pick here. They ban out the LeBlanc as their last one from Lowland Lions.
Yeah, and keeping in mind we're on 5.4, so there are a couple of different changes to champions. So we're no longer seeing a couple of other flex and mid lane bans like Cassidy anymore. So Lissandra is still a very strong flex pick here. And, you know, MOUZ obviously feel very confident. They lock that one in straight away. But one thing, you know, from here I want to kind of talk about is that we're now on to tier 2 junglers. Nidalee and Rek'Sai not available. This draws us down to the Lee Sins, the Jarvans, the Vi's. Yeah, Vi actually has been a big champion, especially over in North America. So now we have to find out how far down the list has Jarvan fallen. Is he tier 2 still, just from his team play? Is he any further down? What are we going to see?
Yeah, do they choose to even pick the Vi over Jarvan? Because, you know, go back a week or so, that would not be the case. But Ari maybe even picked up here. She's been picked up so much. You know, after week 5, it was like 10 times, I believe, like over the course of the split. Incredibly strong, and the teams recognize that. So they've just been playing that over and over and over again.
If they lock Ari and Janna, I'm quite glad that they change up, because there are still a big few picks available. Kalista is available. Obviously, you don't want to play it into the Lissandra, so now they're kind of giving that potentially over to MOUZ should they want to pick it. And that's going to be a fairly strong composition. You know, we did see that in the last game not be successful for Reason Gaming, but that was a lot of how to do, how the early game went is really what kind of undid the Lissandra Kalista.
Yeah, so the Corki was locked in there alongside the Ari. They were contemplating the Janna, which has been changed, but we'll get to that later. But interestingly enough, they do pick up the Jarvan, so that kind of answers our questions. And Lowland Lions were thinking about the Janna, but MOUZ are going to be the ones to take it away.
That's really interesting that under Rek'Sai and Nidalee, Jarvan is still there. So more so than, you know, you would see a Lee Sin, something like that, still feel that his presence just in team fights is enough. And that's a very fast answer out of Lowland Lions.
Yeah, so we're talking about where did they go from the top tier, and now Elisa's finding it way back in as well in competitive, looking for maybe a more pick-focused composition. Do have the Broncoing out here as well for that tanky front line. And that was a very fast lock-in from Lowland Lions. They had an answer immediately.
Yeah, they did. And interesting that Elise is getting picked up. Vi not even thought about here. No thoughts towards the Lee Sin or the Nunu that we've seen over in LCK time and time again. So these teams purely focused on these junglers that are a little bit more pick focused when you look at an Elise, and then a little bit more team fight when you go over to a Javan. So Braum is going to give Corki a fair amount of front line here so that Corki can sit back, land a lot of damage, and between that and Ari, they have a fair amount of damage on this Lowland Lions roster already.
Yeah, they really do. They have that ability to pick. On the flip side, we've got this Robin coming in again with the Jarvan. May even suffer early game against Elise if she decides to counter jungle, because his early game is going to be suffering from that loss of armor. But we do have the Sion again locked in for Mouse coming in here. That will be going to Zaz's, and then the Kalista as well for the Janna lane.
Yeah, indeed. And up in this top lane, there are still a few things available. Fizz is available for Morsu should he want to pick it. And we know it does fairly well into melee matchups. It's difficult to trade against Fizz, and Sion could potentially be a tricky lane matchup here for Zazas to run into Morsu. It is touted by a lot of top laners as being a very strong pick right now.
Yeah,
what else is up? It does get locked in.
Yeah, so yeah, as you mentioned, touted by a lot of challenger players, a lot of top players saying Fizz is really strong right now. He's highly contested in challenger solo queue, now brought into the fray, into the competitive battlefield. Yep. And yeah, you're going to be able to chunk through that big health bar of San. He's going to get the extra health, and you're going to be able to chunk it down with the Fizz Seastone Trident. He likes to go Blade of the Ruin King, Trinity Force, so he'll be able to cut through that.
So looking down the list, what exactly do these team comps do? Well, on the side of Maus, they got good team fight potential here. You go in with Javan, you follow up with Sion once the Cataclysm has potentially dropped, and from there you have a lot of damage from Kalista and Lissandra. So Maus should be okay if they can get into that position, but Lowland Lions have a lot of pick. You look at the kind of burst potential out of Lowland Lions, key the Fizz into that one as well. So much damage.
Yeah, and before the teams hit the Rift, hop, skip, and jump over to lolesports.com to throw in your vote for who you think will take this game. And we'll check in with your responses later in the match.
I never was very good at the triple jump, though, so I might hold on to my opinion for a little while. I'll save that for in-game.
I think that's fair.
We'll let you know as we progress through the game. But, you know, I want to talk about something about this Fizz top lane, actually. And that is there's kind of top laners that play Fizz, and then top laners that don't play Fizz these days, which is kind of weird. But top lane is one of those places where there's very different styles, and we'll get into that. Hopefully we can highlight a little bit of top lane as we're into the game.
Yeah, I want to see how that one goes down, because we are now getting into game for our final game of today between Maus and Lowland Lions. So we'll be waiting for those teams to hit the Rift and hit the ground running. There we go. Sejun will be binding to his lane partner of Mountain. Sometimes you do see Kalista even go for the jungler, but that's like almost never happens unless you're playing Kalista top, and that also never happened.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that one for you, Pulse. Sorry. At this stage, though, Kalista is becoming quite the difficult champion to play against in the bottom lane. Yeah. Corki has had a pretty good job against her. You saw it in the last game, but just in general, if you don't lock her down with a lot of single target point and click stuns, it's difficult to get to her. And you look at this lineup, Fizz has to land the fish, Elise has to land a cocoon, and Ari has to land a charm. Same with Braum with his ultimate. It's not direct crowd control that you can just point and click on them. You have to line it up, and that could be difficult.
Yeah, Visibility though, maybe caught out here. Just managed to get that extra damage from the Sentinel passive. Sejun coming in here. As I get those auto attacks down. The last auto attack gets another free gold. Kyrie from the side gets that important ward. So we'll be able to see what Zazz is doing. But it was actually in tower range. So Zazz is going to be like, alright, I'll take it.
And that gives now Maus the complete freedom to just swap up if they want.
Facepalm moment.
Yeah, Morsu, however, this is smart though. Because if Sion is in the one-on-one, typically he would start over on one of his camps, and they figure they've seen him towards top lane. We can see whether he's doing it on the Wolves. Zaz is, on the other hand, going to go do it on Raptors.
Yeah, so we'll be doing the same thing here. Do have that Sentinel moving through the forest, just making sure they don't decide to do anything funky. So they know exactly where they are because they have that vision, and they have that ward situated there, so they know they're on the Grump. And we'll see if Maus do something similar. In fact, yeah, they're on the Krug, so they'll be trying to get that early level 2. Hybrid very good at tanking that one up, but You're talking about the Kalista earlier, and I mean, it's the same kind of composition we had last time around in the last game, where they have this heavy front line, they jump onto the front line, and then Kalista just kind of runs circles around them. So we'll have to see if they can do better than Reason, but as you can see, Zaz is just finishing up this Raptor.
Man, Zaz just gave that Raptor a run for its money there.
Yeah,
now he's just got to stand here and die. I mean, normally it's a little... Because normally you don't quite kill everything, and then you kind of just come back and you very quickly just make light work of it. But Zaz just had to wait out his passive there for a little while. So
it's better actually to die because then you don't have the respawn time, whereas you have to recall.
Exactly. But Robin is looking for a very early gank for himself. Kozq a little bit pushed up.
Drag doesn't land it. That will be the flash coming out from Kozq. Very nice from Robin, getting that summon away from the mid lane very early. Soz Pure Effect will try to take advantage of this.
I mean, for as much as we talked about Javan potentially dropping down, that was not changed in the 5.4 changes. His ability to get into lane early was not changed at all. Will adjust his jungle pathing here. Robin has actually waited for his smite to come back up so he can go and do his second buff pretty quickly after. And then I expect him, depending on his health, to recall fairly soon and pick up his jungle item.
Yeah, he actually had to pop this last health potion there, but maybe with the other smite he might be able to do something. Bot lane though, Cedric and Mountain are still farming up. Actually went for the Sentinel first, interesting enough, as you saw the extra damage earlier, but they are pushing this lane in, 17 CS to 9. There is a bigger minion wave pushing into Visibility, but not enough to equal the distance. So Kyrie comes in here, puts down the charm.
Cocoon.
Oh, the cocoon onto him. There comes the charm. That one comes around, and Soz Pure Effect does get away with his life, but good predict onto the claw. Of course, that is telegraphed. He was able to get that one down, but with the aggression, puts out his own ward, and that will be seen out by Soz Pure Effect, who does the same.
Yeah, I mean, two options at that point. Kyrie could have just turned and run. Now he's got to turn and run because...
it's like a stealth mission.
Yeah, exactly. It's Bengi 2.0 over here. And Kyrie's going to find himself a different way out, but he's going to run into another Sentinel.
Whoop.
Oh, that's
not quite Solid Snake.
Game over.
You lose.
Snake!
Crab!
At this point, oh no, it's a crab battle. Oh god, that's a blast from the past if anybody hung around on Newgrounds for a while. But at this point, Lowland Lions, you know, they've got control of that river. Oh dear, I didn't expect myself going there on a cast. But yeah, they got control of the river, and they have control somewhat of the lanes. But this top lane is looking a little tricky for Morsu.
Yeah, Morsu just kind of stood there and took it to the face from Zaz's. Puts down the hurt with his Roar of the Slayer, decimating smash. That sounds very scary.
It sounds very scary, but I guess Morsu has taken a lot of damage at this point. But you know, it's not so scary when he screams.
Even the ground trembles.
It's not so scary when he screams cowards and then runs away from you when you have to ult away. So it is yet to be seen. Unfortunately, you know, we had Lumberjack Scion in the last game. There's no like Fisherman Scion. I don't think his method of fishing would be too subtle. You know, like those fishermen that have a giant harpoon?
Yeah.
I figure it's just that, but his axe has like a spike on it. It just swings it through the ocean.
The fish.
Exactly.
Got him.
Efficiency.
Efficiency. Oh, so smart. Mountain just get hit by the fast bomb here. Followed up. Well, Jess was just gone. He's just left the casting table.
I didn't even realize I made that joke. But mid lane.
The charm and the cocoon as well. That damage on the Soz Pure Effect gets the ignite down. Robin also takes a couple of hits. The ignite's still ticking, but he pops his own biscuit. And while he chews on the biscuit, he will keep himself alive. Chews through the pain. Kyrie from the bot side. Is he able to get the assassinate off? Very sneaky with Hybrid. Puts down the ward.
He's got a Luchador there as his tag team partner here, and we'll see whether Hybrid can lay some smack down here on to Mouse. Lowland Lions did have the win yesterday, and now they're going to try and force out Soz Pure Effect. Hits the chair.
Hits the charm as well. There's the first blood coming in for Kozq, and Robin is now underneath this turret. Hybrid takes another tower shot. They're very low. This is dangerous. Kyrie will repel up in the air. What comes up will pick up a kill onto the Javan.
Will indeed, and Lowland Lions find themselves at 2-0 off that play. Great little play in the mid lane.
Yeah.
Knew that they'd already got Soz Pure Effect pretty low, and he was easy pickings, and now they're onto the turret.
That was just really nice from Lowland Lions. The early games have always been kind of chaotic, and typically before we've seen chaotic fights kind of in terms of the towers, where they trade them back and forth, but this time it was just in kills.
That's very true. We haven't had a crazy lane swap, lane push, towers, 2 towers at 4 minutes.
Like, something's amiss here. We have to shake it up.
This feels too standard. So Morsu teleports back up to the top lane. Has himself a Bilgewater Cutlass already in this lane. So looking to chunk through some of that health that Scion is going to be stacking up.
Yeah, Morsu coming in here. He's basically even CS, and as you mentioned, Blade of the Ruin King as the first item, maybe even going for the Trinity Force as well. Really starts to pick up towards the mid and late game, where you can start chunking people down. Hybrid as well was just wandering through the river, trying to establish some control. Only 7 minutes 30 in, so a Dragon is not entirely off the cards, because, of course, Kyrie is a thing. He's playing Elise. The Spidings are great at tanking. But, yeah, they are definitely just establishing some control with those 2 initial kills. Hybrid, in fact, heading into the jungle, knowing that they have the timer onto this red buff here. Heads around the side, but Robin was 1 step ahead of them. But was he? Because Kyrie from the top side, there's the chair, there's the charm, there's the cocoon, takes him down. There was no charm, because Q was mid lane, but they get him regardless.
Hybrid tags himself in, gets himself the assist. And from there, Kyrie, another kill here, and 0-2 on Jarvan. This is one of the troubles of Jarvan, is his clear is a lot weaker now. So he gets lower off jungle camps, and a champion or a player like Kyrie is going to be able to exploit that time and time again here, already 0-2.
I'm a little interested in Robin's build. I'm going to hold that for 1 second as Morsu takes some harass from the big scary Sion, but Robin actually went for Stalker's Blade here.
Yeah.
And we were kind of expecting him to go Trailblazer to keep himself healthy, but again, Q now into the top lane.
Q's heading up. Can they land the charm?
There's the fish, there's the Spirit Rush as well. Follows up, takes him down. Now they just need to not get punched by Sion as he's now into his passive.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Morsu.
That's, that's a little on the, I don't want to say bad-mannered side, but maybe it is. But,
just a little. Just a little bit. But they do manage to take down the Dragon coming in from Lowland Lions. Cedrin kiting back here. There's the Claw. There's the Engage as well. He comes in with the Glacial Tomb, but he just... no, there he goes. He comes up, comes back down, and eventually gets the Frozen Tomb coming out. Fantastic. Just and 1 kill in return.
Just when you think the Rift Scuttler is your friend, by giving you the repel, creep blocks you and you can't get past. And at that point, Kyrie in a little bit of dire straits, and Maus will finally pick themselves up their first kill of the game, but the first Dragon did go to Lowland Lions, so in that trade, Lowland Lions will be pretty happy.
Yeah, it's funny, in LCS they were like, oh, it's the first thing that doesn't try to kill me. Well, it definitely killed him there, that thing in the Skull Crab.
It just looks like it's not trying to kill you.
Yeah, but it just gets in your way.
It's always the quiet ones.
It's like, you want to get on this train? No, I'm just going to stand here.
Oh dear, and oh dear. Rift Scuttler is actually evil, is what we're teaching you here on the EU Challenger Series. But at this point, Kyrie going to give that blue buff over to Q. He will do it. There we go. Gets the Q, the Q.
I'm done. So yeah, he has picked up the needlessly large rod, looking not for the Deathfire Grasp, still not in this game. But we do have this aggression from Kyrie again into the jungle. He has been spotted out though, because Sos Pure Effect has warded around the area. There's so much vision around that area in the bottom, around the Dragon, because of the Dragon, but secondly because of the aggression from Kyrie. So he's been spotted out, and the bot lane must know this, but they're still pushing up. Cedrin and Mountain are a little overextended, but they do back off in time.
I mean, Kyrie did just walk over forwards. If they hadn't spotted him yet, they will now. Now they definitely know, because he just killed the Sentinel. So enough warding out there keeps them alive. But look at this massive CS difference in the bottom lane. 90 CS on Kalista, 264 CS on Corki, and we saw the opposite of this kind of matchup go earlier today, where Corki was just well ahead. And in this situation, Cedrin is in a good spot. We mentioned how yesterday he picked up a few kills. It looked like Maus was starting to get their comeback from him, and Mountain, potentially it's the same this game. Morsu is going to go aggressive onto Xaxus though.
Yeah, still doesn't quite have that extra HP damage, percent damage of course when he auto attacks. Has that from Season Trident, but wants it from the Blade of the Ruin King. Then he'll start to deal some damage to Xaxus. But until that time, Xaxus will just be continuing to get stronger and stronger, building his way towards a Frozen Heart. Trying to cripple some of that attack speed, perhaps. Kind of interesting, because one of the players on the team really strike me as the attack speed type, not like a Kalista anyway.
I mean, Xaxus is going to have to try and deal with some of the attacks coming from Morsu in this lane, so he needs to... Ooh, wow,
Q from nowhere, jumps as well, again with the Spirit Rush, and makes his escape. He just ducked and dived into that fight, and then he was gone, as if he wasn't there.
Yeah, as if by magic, Q appears. But, you know, there was a good ward out onto the Raptors there. Make sure that Robin just gets punished again. Top lane, now Morsu wants to go.
It's feeding time. Comes in with the auto attacks, is still able to kite after him. Comes in with the ultimate. He's not in range, but Kyrie from the sidelines will be taking down Xaxus. He'll be putting down some damage in return. Sauce Perfect in the mid lane comes in with the Frozen 2 onto Kodzky. He knows he doesn't have his ult speed, knows he doesn't have Ignite, but he jumps, he sidesteps out of the way of the Ice Shard, but Hybrid's there to slam him down with his Q, the Winter's Bite, which happens to be a Cheddars game.
What should have been a very clean 1-for-0 in the middle lane ends up being traded 1-for-1 just from that missed Ice Shard. Morsu now is still top lane.
Flag, drag, bag, takes him down.
Yeah, Robin will pick up that kill onto Morsu, who overstayed top lane. Bottom lane, action all around the map.
All over the board. Mountain comes in. He will be Fate's called backwards. There's the flash into the Rend and the Pierce. Takes him out. The bottom tower falls as well, or should be falling just in a second. Zazas has found himself in the bot lane. He teleported into the action, knowing that Robin had the top lane covered. Yeah,
Zazas just covering here just to make sure that they can get that turret after the kill. And Mao's starting to look like they were showing signs of life here. They get kills top, they get kills bottom, and in the middle lane. Is this what they need to get back into this game? Teleport coming out into the top lane. Kyrie is up here as well. Lowland Lions want to punish Robin again.
Yeah, they're not done. Here comes that smite coming out, but there's the Venomous Bite to follow, followed by the Repel. Morsu is now into the fight. He needs to connect the Urchin Strike. There's the jump as well. He should be able to get it. A couple more auto attacks. There's the Blades of Ruin King now complete. That's a lot of damage. Both teams just returning fire one after another.
Jarvan, just as you can see, his death animation is actually quite brutal.
It's not as bad as Tryndamere, dude.
No, true. Cassiopeia is still the worst when she screams and explodes into chunks. But at that point, that was just a really nice setup there out of Lowland Lions. They know that Robin has not really got the chance to get away from them. And Kyrie holds Cocoon for so long in that engage that it's just a very easy pick as soon as Robin tries to get out of there. So from that, Lowland Lions doing good things around the map. But Dragon is up in 45 seconds, and if they can control that, it would be their second of the game.
Yeah, and it's 13 minutes in, and the laning phase is basically donezied because everyone's just been roaming from lane to lane to lane, trying to pick up some kills, and every time they're just trying to punish mistakes by going a little bit when someone's overextended just a little bit. And Robin, I don't know what to feel. Like, he's won 4-on-1, but has really had an impact on his team because he's really just assisted and allowed them to come back into the game. So we'll see if he can continue it, because yes, he's died 4 times as well.
Yeah, it's one of those open questions right now, is how much more effect can Robin have?
Right.
Because we haven't really got into the point of the game where Jarvan should be that effective. Yes, we've had the early kills and the early ganks from Jarvan that you would expect, but now with his reduced clear time, that is certainly less of an option for him. Now Lowland Lions want to control the Dragon. This could be the potential time for a Cataclysm to make a big impact here, but it doesn't look like they want to go for it at all.
Yeah, Howling Gale will not get it this time. One day it will, but it won't be this game. And Lowland Lions will be backing off, going into their respective lanes once again. Lots of the outer turrets have fallen. 2 from Lowland Lions, meaning they do have that freedom to roam from lane to lane. Kodzky will be picking up the blue buff here from Kyrie. Both of them, in fact, have those blue buffs as well, since they did pick up some kills and able to counter jungle. Robin in the bottom lane here, maybe trying to do something onto Visibility and Hybrid. They don't have the tower there, but Kyrie reads this.
Kyrie does have the read on it, but will they engage? Will Maus recognize that Kyrie could be around? That is the question here. And Cedrian, he's very far ahead. Blade of the Ruin King to just a Sheen and parts of a Phage. Kyrie's going to show himself. Robin looks to be backing away, maybe looking to line up a better engage here. He wants to go in.
Looking for the flag and drag. Hybrid turns around and gets the Glacial Fission. There's the ultimate. The Cataclysm comes down onto Visibility. He gets blown away by the Monsoon as well. Double kill comes out for the Callista. And now moving on to Kyrie. Make that a perfect 3-4-0 and the triple for Cedrian.
Flashbacks to yesterday as Cedrian has picked himself up a triple kill at a pivotal point in the game here. That puts Callista now 5-0-0. That's going to go a long way towards getting a Ruan's Hurricane. 2,000 gold currently on Callista, and that is really going to just power Maus into these next couple of fights. And yes, the gold is not even between the two teams, it's definitely not evil. But you know, Lowland Lions still ahead, but they now have to find out how to deal with this Callista, and without that point-and-click crowd control we were talking about, that's going to be difficult.
Yeah, 2,200 gold ahead. He even has all of that in the bank right now, in his back pocket, ready to spend. So we'll see where he goes with that. As you mentioned, the Runan's Hurricane is definitely on the agenda, but Lowland Lions, 77%, definitely commanding this fan vote coming in here. And, well, so far, yes, they were very good yesterday, but Maus have definitely turned on the gas a little in this one.
They have. We're into their 6th game of the round robin, and they finally started perhaps to show up here. They're still not ahead, but as we said, Cedrian, as long as he stays alive, should be enough for MOUZ to take these team fights. It just is dependent on how Lowland Lions want to play them. One of the problems that MOUZ are going to have is Morsu is going to be over in a side lane, split pushing, and who deals with him is one of the big things.
Kotsku, flag, drag, gets the Frozen Tomb as well, but now he's in the thick of the action. He'll be going down for it as he's so mobile. That being from Kotsku. He has the flash, he has the Spirit Rush, and they actually turn around and get the 1-for-1. It was the support for the jungle, so they do come out ahead, that being from MOUZ.
Corki just showed in the bottom lane, so MOUZ should just force this into mid lane if they can get a pick here. The problem is they've run out of a minion wave, and they can't push straight away. So Kyrie and Kotsku get a little bit of a respite here because Cedrian's going to have to go down to the bottom lane to stop Corki from pushing. So a little bit of unfortunate timing for MOUZ there that they couldn't continue that push.
Yeah, and definitely heading towards those breakpoints. Has almost got that Hurricane, has the Blade Rune King as well, but in the mid lane it's Soz Purefect who has the Morellonomicon. Likewise, his opponent Kotsku has done the same, and while we haven't seen him aggressing too much because he's always on the back foot, he's always able to escape using that innate ability or mobility from Ahri.
And you know what, in this game, there's big leads for Morsu. It was our featured matchup of the day. Would Morsu on a carry champion be able to undo Xaxis on a tank? That is the exact matchup we have here. And maybe Xaxis feels like he's strong enough this time around to actually... That charge. Not the most intimidating, but they're going to follow up.
He may even pick up a kill and return though. He flashes out the way of the Cataclysm. Hybrid's there to defend him. Stand behind me, says Braum, but he gets prodded and he goes down. Hybrid now trying to get away from this action, and Kyrie doesn't want any of it. He's just out of there, seeing if he can get something done. Hybrid even escapes.
Man, that just, I had flashbacks to, you know, like at Sports Day when they have the dads race and they thunder along the ground. You can feel the ground shake, but they only go a little bit of the way before getting blown up and everybody looks super tired. That's what that just looked like with Xaxis charging up, because he already knew he couldn't make the turn, so he just had to kind of stop. Nevertheless.
Memories.
Just, you know, Morsu thought he could trade that. This time the teleport gets cancelled because they see Visility move away. So that's a big cooldown that was just used. Cedrian has stuck around here. Here comes Hybrid and Kyrie. They could have really used Scion here.
Yeah, they don't connect the Winter's Bite though, and Soz Purefect and Mountain are there to carry on the fight. But Xaxis, he does follow forwards. There's the Fate's Call, and Soz Purefect is dragged into the team with the Charm. Uses a Frozen Tomb on himself, but Kyrie's there to clean him up. Visility actually comes in for the kill. Now Xaxis arrives, but that teleport would have been real nice to have a little earlier. He doesn't have the ultimate, but he has it in a couple seconds. They're going to re-engage. Cedrian drops low, and he'll have to be on the back foot as everyone teleports into the fight. Lowland Lions have the numbers advantage. They take down Xaxis, and that's a 2-4-0 in this fight. Unless he can catch up with them, that's not going to be the case, and his final words will just be lol.
I didn't even realize that was the post-death noise.
I was expecting to say something,
makes.
and then he's kind of that instead.
I was expecting you to say something, and then you just said that instead, so I guess the circle is complete here, as Lowland Lions will take out the enemy jungle as well. Going to get that red buff. Not over to Visility, they want to give it to Morsu. So what that does, actually, is makes Morsu all the more difficult to trade against. Now, this is a 2v1, and Robin's going to have to run for quite some time if he wants... Oh, mind games.
The Great Escape.
Oh, he wants it. Can he? They've cut him off, though. He goes for Visility.
Wow, he's actually trying to pick up a kill here. He comes in with the auto attacks. Does he have the ability to get away? He will jump out of the Cataclysm. No way! Gets him with the Dragon Strike. Wow, Robin.
Oh, Robin. You know, I thought he was gonna.
Gone.
Hashtag CS or Challenger big plays. That was a big play. Robin stamping his authority. I thought he was gone. And however, he is gone, and now there's a dragon. So I guess he gets the kill. Yeah. So he gets the personal credit, but now this puts Lowland Lions onto 3 dragons. So the timing of this couldn't have been worse.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, a personal victory, but a great step for Robin and not a great step for MOUZ as a team. So Morsu will be taking this crab here, establishing some more control, but, well, they already have the dragon, so they are now 3 dragons ahead of their opponent. This is starting to become an issue for them.
I mean, the problem is mice only take little tiny steps, so Robin was just kind of like running, whereas Lions, they just kind of step over things and squash them.
Okay. Anyway, so we do have Soz Purefect just farming up the middle lane here. Cedrian now 6-0-0. Is so far ahead in this game. A lot of their hopes really just right on top of Kalista. when we get to these team fights. Robin has had an impact for sure, and we asked the question in the early game whether he'll continue to perform because he had those 2 assists, but he also had 4 deaths. Now only 2 deaths later, he's now got 8 kills. So he's had so much kill participation, 80% kill participation in this game. Robin's really had an impact.
Yeah, he has. And honestly, when we were coming into this game, as you kind of discussed, what could he do? We also talked about the Jarvan pick. We've seen he's gone from being 1-4-1 to now 3-6-5. That's a lot better now that we're into this period of the game where Jarvan is actually effective. So from here, MOUZ, we talked about if they can keep Cedrian alive, but that kind of last few bottom lane engages, Cedrian stepped forward, took a lot of damage, and wasn't able to survive. And if that happens again and again, he did survive barely, being 6-0, but he couldn't output a whole bunch of damage. And at that point, that's when MOUZ kind of have to back away from their fights. And however, it hasn't happened too often for them.
Yeah, Lowland Lions in pretty good shape in terms of item builds. We have finally got Morsu on his 2 big items, the ones that he really needs before he builds tank. Trinity Force and the Blade Rune King, of course. Likewise, Vizility is gonna go for a similar build here. And then out of the jungle, Kyrie hasn't even upgraded his jungle item yet. Even this late into the game, he just went for the Locker of the Iron Solari first.
So it was something that I actually just assumed that he was going for, because he picked up, and when I say assumed he was going for the Juggernaut that we've seen out of a lot of Elise, he picked up 2 Ruby Crystal very early on, and that's typically just a signal that you're heading towards that Juggernaut. It actually ended up going into a Locket of the Iron Solari, and he's had that now for quite a while. Rushed it, as you said, before he even finished the jungle item. And he's gone for a lot of this kind of budget health items. Everything here builds from like a Ruby Crystal here, rather than a big Giant's Belt item when you look at it. So he's got Sightstone, he's got Kindle Gem, the Locket. So he's gone for lots of little bits of health stacking up.
Yeah, and when I spoke to him when we had the warrior fiasco, he was like he definitely wanted to go for the Juggernaut, so we know that's the type of jungle item he likes to go
yeah,
for.
Of course.
But yeah, I mean, he just hasn't completed it yet, which is interesting. Typically, we do see that very early on. There comes the Sentinel, so they do now know where Lowland Lions are hiding. MOUZ are going to try and use that information to pretty much just farm the lanes.
Yeah, and Lowland Lions have secured this Baron position quite a few times. They're actually going to start it. So I believe, did they see Robin down in the bottom lane? They have been spotted on this Baron now for sure. As
yeah, they must have done.
Cedrian did just spot them out using the blue trinket. Kozku's going to come in and run defense. That is going to be a Baron going straight over to Lowland Lions. Great decision making off what potentially was just an oversight by Robin.
Yeah, but at the same time, basically that. Robin was in the bottom lane, but they were just clearing out all the vision away from MOUZ, and that didn't tip them off that they were taking Baron. That's kind of like the classic play, clear out the wards and just go for Baron, but MOUZ were too content just to sit in their lanes and farm away. Also curious that Robin was the one to be so, like, the furthest possible place he could be away from the Baron.
Yeah, especially with Xaxus having teleport available, or at least it would have been very soon to be off cooldown if it wasn't available. So interesting at a MOUZ that they would actually do that play, as you said, that Robin would be the one clearing. But at this point, MOUZ don't really want to fight Lowland Lions all that much, because Lowland Lions now, they've got 2 Trinity Force on their lineup. The Corgis has been completed for quite some time here, as well as nearly having a second Blade of the Ruin King onto Corki, as well as the one they have on Fizz. So LLL are very strong right now, and MOUZ, as we said, they have to fight around Cedrian and protect him, who has opted for a very early Banshee's Veil when it comes to it. He's now lacking any kind of penetration item, mainly because there is very little armor on the side of Lowland Lions.
Yeah, and it's really going to come down to these team fights. We haven't seen a full-blown one in a little while, but yeah, we've been talking so much about the Kalista, so much about the theoreticals of how the team fight's going to work out, but now it's kind of just gone into zoning, sieging, and trying to push them in, as Lowland Lions have that Baron buff now. They actually do back away. Even 3 versus 4, they're not making a big decisive movement in the middle lane, and now they're just kind of fanning out. This is a little curious in both of the teams.
It is a little bit curious indeed, but you can see Vizility heading up to that top lane is going to push that one through, and Morsu is causing problems on his own in the bottom side of the map as well. So at this point, Lowland Lions are trying to pressure 3 areas, but they're about to get engaged.
Yeah, Robin comes in for the flag and drag, and there comes Xaxus right onto the back of Hybrid, but he's too far away from his team to try and secure the kill. Kyrie's still in the midst of their jungle. He doesn't have anywhere to run. Now he has to flash to jump over the wall. No one has died just yet. Just a bunch of summoners burnt from Lowland Lions. Lions. That was a good movement play from Mouse to just catch them in their jungle. Now the teleport's coming in from Zaz's.
Facility was trying to take down the turret. Now Morsu goes back to the bottom lane because he knows they have teleport advantage in this situation. So in that fight, Maus looked to engage, and then Lowland Lions split up to the point where Maus weren't consistent on who they wanted to target. So now Lowland Lions have shoved all 3 lanes, and they go for Dragon because there's very little chance that Maus can actually come back and try and steal this. This is their 4th Dragon of the game.
Yeah, that is very significant because just the fact that Maus weren't even able to contest that is now put them on the clock because next Dragon comes up, they have to contest no matter what. Yes, they have a good team fight, but I would have liked to see it now rather than later. And Lowland Lions picking up another uncontested Dragon is really putting it to Maus, putting up the pressure. 5,000 gold ahead, but that doesn't entirely tell the tale of the game because they are very even. It's just that added pressure now.
Yes, indeed. It is just a lot of extra pressure. And, you know, Maus, we've already talked about that 0-5 right now. And if the 5th Dragon goes down to Lowland Lions, that could be that final nail in the coffin of being 0-6 in the standings. Lowland Lions, you know, they've been looking pretty good here. They had a bit of a hiccup last week, but in their first week's games, they're beating Team Dignitas Europe. They were looking strong. They were looking stronger than they are now, but still, LLL are on a good path here to that middle of the table here in the EUCS.
Yeah, Maus are definitely stepping up from yesterday at least. Like their performances in previous weeks have definitely been weak, but this very fast change from day to day might be what they need to start picking up some kills in the later weeks, of course. Because they are kind of the reverse of Origin at this point, where they're not guaranteed a playoff, they're guaranteed not to be in the playoffs. So if they can make those iterations, that would be fantastic for them halfway through the split right now. Morsu, however, is splitting away from the pack as he moves into the bottom lane. He has been seen out by that ward, and he's still seen by that ward, so Robin will take the long route back to the lane.
Yeah, Morsu, they know he's there. Cedrian walks over a ward himself. Also, Cedrian now is in a fairly safe spot when it comes to staying alive against just Morsu, because now he just has a Banshees to stop the fish coming out. So if there's no ult for Fizz onto Kalista, there's no way he's going to be able to blow her up. But at this point, LLL don't really mind. They're just going to go take turrets down where they can, push in with Morsu, create a lot of trouble again, and then just keep taking down these remaining outer towers.
Yeah, it's become a game of chess over the last couple of minutes, and it was a nice movement play from Lowland Lions. Yeah, he takes the bottom turret. He even goes for the ultimate, the Chum the Waters, comes in with a flash as well, and actually finishes him off.
Straight up 1v1s in that bottom lane. Really just nothing that Robin could do there. That's the 7th death for Robin in this game, and Maus have managed to hold the mid lane, but Lowland Lions with the next wave joining, as Baron Buff has timed out about a minute or so ago, with the next wave coming into the middle lane. Will they look to push? It's Morsu in the bottom. Yeah,
Glacial Path comes through, follows up the ultimate. Morsu may even take him out, but the Zhonya's comes in from Sard's Pure Effect, keeps him alive. But while that was happening, they committed so many resources bottom lane that Lowland Lions were able to take the middle turret. For Sedgen's on the chase. Comes in with the Pierce as well, but he's too far ahead of his team to go further.
Yeah, he is. Look at the damage that Cosq still has, even against Xaxus, who should at this point be very tanky. But look how far behind Xaxus is in farm. 281 from Morsu, from split pushing to 193 on Xaxus. He has not been able to farm up Soul Furnace quite as much as he would like. Now he'll get a little bit of time to add some more health onto those stacks. But at this point in the game, let's take a look at exactly how much. He's got currently bonus 492 health coming from Soul Furnace. So imagine he was up on par with Fizz. How much more of a problem he'd be right now.
Yeah, and Lowland Lions, they got what they came for. They lost a kill, but they got 3 towers in exchange. If you look at how the last couple of minutes have all gone. Nice movement plays top and mid, and then Morsu was just strong enough to brute force his way into the bottom lane. But now it's a little harder because the time it takes to react from lane to lane is way less now from Maus, so they need a kind of trump card. That being from Lowland Lions, and 20 seconds to go onto the Baron. That has to be the catalyst for the next move of the game.
Yeah, you have to think so, and not too long until that either. Xaxus wasn't quite able to land that Q. And from here, Maus, they have shoved out the mid wave. Bot lane, they know Morsu is down there with teleport available, but not even Xaxus can fight against him this point. So honestly, Lowland Lions are expecting Maus to just kick off and engage, and then Lowland Lions just completely disengage.
Yep, Lowland Lions again clearing up the wards, but this time around, Maus are actually there to try and disrupt them if they do go for that Baron. Morsu is in the bottom lane, and he's quickly becoming an issue, so they try to force the issue, and he runs right into a cocoon. Soz Pure Effect stopped in his tracks. Morsu is still becoming an issue here, and Zazas has not gone back to base to deal with him. In fact, he can't.
He's going to get this.
Yeah, he's just going to take this for free. All Lowland Lions need to do is just keep pushing them away, stop them from recalling, and Morsu gets the bottom turret for free. This is textbook play, but has not been reacted in time. Kozq comes forward, he moves on to Soz Pure Effect, tries to get the kill. He's locked down, though. They do trade that one. Soz Pure Effect again uses his Zhonya's, but Morsu is just taking away this inhibitor, and he's too slippery for Zazas to do anything at this stage. He's too far ahead into Fizz.
Yeah, Morsu just for the trading one kill. He's actually going to go on Zazas.
Chum the waters as well into the Urchin Strike. He comes in with a couple more auto-attacks, the Decimating Smash, but it's not going to be enough because Morsu follows up. He gets him with the flip and the autos. He now is in his passive form, but Soz Pure Effect is there. He won't be able to catch up. Now 4 Dragons, Lowland Lions have the bottom turret and the bottom inhib. They have such an objective lead over Maus.
Yeah, so much so that they just got a free inhibitor. I say free, they traded 1 kill away for it onto their mid laner, who only was just pretty much stopping recalls. Robin goes in.
Well, he goes for the aggression, but the team is not on the same page at all. He jumps in, he dies for it. Now Sedgen jumps in, he gets exhausted. Glacial Fissure follows up. Morsu from the bottom lane. He does get punted backwards by the ultimate there of the Monsoon, but that just puts him back into the line of sight of Sedgen and takes him out as well. 3-0. Now moving on to the Dragon. This will be the 5th one of the game. And Soz Pure Effect, unless he can pull off a miracle, which he's not even going to try. 5 Dragons, bottom inhibitor down. This is one of the last nails in the coffin I think Maus are going to have.
It truly is. Now they got that aspect of the Dragon at 5 stacks with the bottom lane inhibitor, and nobody can beat Morsu as it is. Think of what that does to Morsu now. Not only does he have all the damage he has already on his kit, now he's doing that true damage from his auto attacks as well. So anybody that potentially thought they could stand against him in the lane is now going to have no hope. Morsu's going to teleport into the fight. He doesn't even need to split push now to close this game out. The auto attack damage is ridiculous already from him, and there's nobody on Maus that can stand up against that.
Well, our big question was who's going to come out ahead in the top lane. How will these styles interact? Apparently Morsu just 1 step ahead of Zazas in this game for sure. 5-3-3 has a pretty much a full item build, just needs 1 more item to finish that one off. Whereas Zazas is lagging behind on only 2 big items, and there's no way he can stop Morsu one-on-one himself.
And one puzzling thing for this game, yes, they have a front line in the way of Zazas, but out of the jungle we're seeing a Black Cleaver. Pretty early finish onto Robin, and we've seen Robin just get melted time and time again. He doesn't really have a completed defensive item as such, and he has no hope of standing up, so he just wants to throw himself and get as much damage down as possible. But Lowland Lions are kind of just building this giant wave now of momentum to kind of like push over Maus. And they're at the mid inhib. Janna is shielding it for now, but it's a matter of time before that bottom lane pushes in.
Yeah, and Maus can't actually get to that cannon minion, which is slowly chipping away at the middle turret. He's not been promoted, so it's not going to do all that much damage, but Robin just going for the engage here. Here comes the ultimate, the Cataclysm, and he's so low, but Kyrie, the junglers may exchange here. He goes up for the repel, and Lowland Lions do have to back away just a little here as they do land the final cocoon onto the backside of Zaz. He goes down, so does the support. Now it's just a chain reaction, and everyone from Maus will just drop in synchronicity. They all go out of there. Soz Pure Effect, almost a full HP, but he can't repel this siege. He can't weather the storm at all. There's the Ignite 1 auto, and he's ticking down. All they need to do is push down the middle here. Morsu takes him out. There's the playful Trickster. And Lowland Lions are in prime position to finish this one out.
Cedrian did all that he could in that fight. He fought valiantly, but Maus will not be able to hold on to their bases. Lowland Lions will run them down and take a 2-0 scoreline for this week.
Yeah, that was incredibly well played coming into this one. Maus, they played way better in this game than they did yesterday, but ultimately it wasn't enough. And they definitely slipped in that mid game when they just split between their lanes, and then Robin was in bot lane. That momentary lapse in concentration just kind of let the whole game slip away from them at that point.
Yeah, and over on the side of Lowland Lions, just how well they played that comp, getting Morsu fed, making sure that he could split push effectively. And, you know, we said it coming into this, games. Morsu likes to carry, and carry he certainly did.
Yeah, that is the truth indeed. And in this game, that was really good from Lowland Lions. Like, people didn't really have a lot of expectations coming into the split. Now they took down Team Dignitas EU in week 1. They've now done the same in week 3 up against Maus. That puts them now 4-2. That's an incredibly good scoreline for a team where people weren't expecting a whole lot.
Yeah, it's really good actually for them as a lineup. Everybody underestimated them coming in, and now they've defeated, as you said, 2 sets of opponents, and they've put themselves in really good standing when it comes to the how the groups are standing right now. And you know, Lowland Lions, they're still a little rough around the edges. We've seen them have these weird trades at the beginning of the game, but certainly as soon as they get ahead, they're showing that they're fairly comfortable.
Indeed. But with another 3 games in the books, let's see how those affected the standings. We talked a little bit about Lowland Lions, but look at their position. 4-2, just underneath Origin, who are now 6-0 themselves. It means the middle of the table is tied up, and now Mousesports are lagging behind again. The same story from week 2, now 0-6.
0-6 is not a position you want to be at this late into the day. But taking a look at next week's matches, remember we'll be recapping all of Tuesday's games, and then we'll kick off Wednesday with Origin at the top of the table versus Maus, the bottom team of the table.
Yeah, and we'll see if they can bounce back. But after that is Lowland Lions up against Reason Gaming, and then we'll be rounding out the day with Gamers 2 versus Dignitas. The action starts all over again at 1800 CET.
Now, if you missed any of the plays from the Challenger Series or other regions games, you can catch up on the latest VODs over at lolesports.com.
Yeah, just click on the VODs tab at the top of the page and use the drop-down on the left-hand side to narrow down the search.
But that's it for your EU Challenger fix for the week. But for your bumper hump day of League of Legends, the action doesn't stop here. Tune in again at 12 a.m. CET, 3 p.m. Pacific time for Primetime League.
Yeah, and after that, Freak and Zyrene will bring you week 3 of the 2015 North American Challenger Series. Well, that concludes another week of EU Challenger action. From myself, Stress, and our entire Berlin broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we will see you again next week.
But you're not that strong. Everybody on the other side, Amazing actually goes in again.
Yeah, he's taking a page out of Wonderware's book, and I think he'll meet the same fate, but he's got so much shielding, and Peke was there from the side. Double Distort goes down, and Voidal also happens to be in the middle of the fight. He'll be disappearing from this lineup. Double kill for XPeke.
A lot of the wards are just starting to time out, but Ica no cleanse.
Yeah, no cleanse, and there comes the Frozen Tomb coming out. Zayu takes another tower shot. Gilius comes in for the cleanup. He gets one. Gilius, oh, there's the soul up there coming down. Another ice shot as well from Take Fun. He's got his double buffs. He's reclaimed it. And Hiva, one more auto attack. There's the red buff ticking as well. Triple kill.
Here can just kind of push this down. Hiva.
Yeah, they're completely separated between the rock and a hard place. And now Kuban comes to engage onto Ica. Jeebus over the wall as well. He's right in the thick of the fight, and no one can focus him down. Zayu now comes in, gets the land shark jump onto Jeebus, but everyone's there to defend him. Kuban should be falling here. Everyone's so low. This could even be a 5-4-0 here. There's the Foss bomb. He goes down.
Hiva spotted the great time to go aggressive onto Take Fun. Then, oh, he got him!
No way!
Whoa!
A great escape.
Oh, he wants it. Can he? They've cut him off though. He goes for Vigility.
Wow, he's actually trying to pick up a kill here. He comes in with the auto attacks. Does he have the ability to get away? He will jump out.
Oh, he got it!
No way! Gets him with the Dragon Strike. Wow, Robin.
Oh, Robin.